Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Fantasy Fairy Illusion Land. I'm your host, Death Doom.
So, what exactly is happening in the city?
Bloodshed, a massacre, which is why we gotta hurry.
You needn't fret. Time flows differently in the fable sphere. We can stay here a week, yet outside mere minutes will have passed.
So if that's true, how long have you been in here, lady? Because you've been in here for... You might have been in here for up to 3 days. So let's see. She said weeks to minutes, right? Let's do a little math, shall we? Let's see here. So if we presume... So there's about 10,080 minutes in a week, right? So let's just assume you get about a ratio of 10,000 to 1, roughly, okay? So if that's true... So that would mean she's been in here for about 82 years. For some reason, I don't think she's speaking literally. Because if she literally has been in here for the last 3 days, well, then you just take 3 days and multiply that by about 10,000. Which is about 82 years. Now, I'm obviously just kind of taking the piss here, but you know what would be really horrible is if the game was actually trying to tell us that. That would probably piss me off enough to deserve a negative by itself if that was actually what they were going for, instead of her just making a vague statement. Oh yeah, she's been in here 82 years. What?
Watch out! Pixies!
Ugh. Die. Die. Die.
Not the friendliest pixies I've met.
We were put here to protect the fable sphere from intruders. Meaning you.
Yeah, exactly, Henson. That's the only reason that's even there. That's true, she could also be lying to us. Oh, here we go. There we go. That's much nicer.
We must catch them. We won't have to walk everywhere then. I call the pink one.
Notice that this one's name is Roach, because, I mean, it makes sense, right? Even an illusionary unicorn is going to be named Roach.
Exciting, isn't it? Reminds me of my childhood.
Reminds me of something altogether different.
Care to elaborate?
Rather not.
No wolves here. None at all. This is grand. I'm alright. Not in any danger. That's him. Joss. Blast. They're going to rip him in 6.
Relax, it's over.
No, it's not. There's more. Another wolf behind you. Ignore him. He always lies.
Aha. Boy who cried wolf. Still does, I suppose. And doesn't, when they actually appear.
The one and only. Listen, you little chit. Jack said you know what's become of his 3 beans. I don't know anything! Not one thing, and besides, watch out! Wolves!
Ah, thank you, Tazara. Much obliged as always. And now... I guess Platty decides.
This'll be interesting. Right, let's get to it. Let's say for a minute you know what happened to the red bean. Where wouldn't it be?
For certain, no one swallowed it. Oh no, definitely not that. Of course not. But say someone didn't. Who would it be that didn't swallow it? A human. The most human-y human in the land of 1,000 fables. Everyone! Wolves! Run!
So speaking of killable kids, no, I don't want to bring that into a recorded video about this. Let's leave that topic at the wayside. Age of Wonders, so noted. You should see my list right now, Tizara. Tizara, Ace Attorney. Tizara, Symphony of the Night. Tizara, Jedi Academy. Tizara, Age of Wonders.
Bet you haven't heard what happened to the Blue Bean. Maybe? Not at all? Right?
I've heard it lies about somewhere, out in the open.
Just like that? No one guarding it?
Nobody. 3 times over. Help! Wolves!
Yellow Bean. Don't know a thing about it, right?
It's somewhere very, and I mean very deep. So deep, in fact, it's completely underground. And who has it? A bold farmhand, who in no way and not at all awaits someone. Not in the slightest.
Got it, Rapunzel.
Good folk! Wolf! Say that word one more time and I'll chop you up. Feed you to the fishes. Understood?
All right, we should go.
Watch out for wolves!
Tough to talk to, that one.
Was it, though? You need merely remember he always lies. Or more precisely, reverses the truth.
Where to now?
I'm not sure. We should visit some of the other fables. The meaty ones, that is. Perhaps then Joss's hints will make more sense. It's just a few. Red Riding Hood, piglets and bears, 3 of each. And Goldilocks, of course. Then Longlocks, and a little lass who sells flint.
Fine. Let's get to work.
This is quite gorgeous, though. I mean, it's a little fantasy-based, but I'm with it.
You must have loved this place.
I did at first. But children get bored quickly. Even tea parties with a whole cackle of princesses eventually turn dull and routine.
What did you do then?
Dropped a duck egg in the swan's nest once, that sort of thing. Stole the pea out from under the princess, who sleeps to this day, I think.
That's, horrible.
Oh look! The Emperor of Nilfgaard! He's come out to show off his new robe.
My new attire reveals itself but to the wise and cultured.
Stop prodding me and find the beans.
Stunning, are they not? My new robe's absolutely stunning.
So this is actually funny. I've heard some people mention that this might be a problem with kids when it comes to holodecks. Because we know there are holodeck programs for kids in Star Trek. But, I don't know. I think most kids would be fine in a holodeck program, especially when properly programmed. I just think she's a sociopath. Of course, I've already given that opinion. So, you know, whatever.
Stop prodding me and find the beans.
I mean, it's kind of like saying every kid loves torturing bugs as a kid. That's not actually a true statement. You know what I mean?
Tobacco of the highest caliber. Fist tech pure as virgin tears. Care for a cigarillo? A bit of tobacco? A dab of fist tech?
Remind me, what tale are you from?
Sold flints when I was a lass, but no one bought them, so I branched out. Now I deal in snuffs, puffs, all sorts of fun things. What'll you have, sweeties?
Magic beans. Do you have any?
If it's not the new name of some kicker I already have, dearies, then no. But maybe you'd like some.
Hey, where'd you get that ribbon? That's mine.
Is that so? Then why was it lying in the bushes? Finders keepers, sweetheart.
Wasting time here, Siana. Let's go.
Hang on a sec. Hang on. Hang on. Jesus Christ, guys. If I ever back out of a conversation, it's pretty obvious why I'm doing it. Because I can't open the menu in conversations. Which still irritates me, by the way.
Incredible. You must have loved this place.
Yeah, I'm getting a hard save in, exactly.
I did it first. But children get bored quickly. Tea parties with a whole cackle of princesses eventually turn dull.
So we're going to go ahead and... wait, actually, you know what? Let's do it this way. That's a good idea. New idea, new idea.
Princess, who sleeps to this day.
This Longlock's tower?
Indeed. It's even taller than I remember.
3 bears.
3 stools, 3 beds, 3 bowls.
One a bit too big, the other too small, the third just right. Blonde curls. Rest of the body's too mutilated. Hard to say anything.
She got what she deserved, as I see it. Always took what she wanted without asking.
No bean here. Gotta keep looking.
I mean... You are not the person to be talking about what people deserve, Siana. Oh yeah, sorry, Hazardous. So, valid point, by the way, what you mentioned. I've actually considered several times tracking both the person who shows the interest and the person who shows the money. But that actually ended up skewing the system really weirdly. So nowadays I just keep track of the person who gave the money. I know it's not quite valid, but... I mean, they are the one who put the money towards something. If that makes any sense. It's kind of the same as if someone puts it towards my choice. I still put their name down, right? But I just wanted to mention that I wasn't ignoring you. You have a valid point, and I actually agree with you.
Hello? Can we talk?
Schwungbroch, my head! Damn it all! I swear that was the last time I drank with Redbeard. Oh, Siana, a bloody long time it's been. You've changed.
Whereas you, not at all, big bad wolf. Though it seems you've started running with the wrong crowd.
And who should I run with, eh? Thumbelina? One shot and she's under the table. But, what brings you?
You could always have a drink with us.
Oh, what now? Not on your life. I can barely stand, I'm so hungover.
You know what they say about the hair of the dog?
Out of the question. And why must you drink? Do you wish to drown some sorrow? And I don't mean to pry, but you don't look much like a young duchess to me.
They stripped me of my title and birthright, then banished me. A family spat, let's say.
Listen, looking for magic beans. Seen any?
I was given one for safekeeping, but...
Where is it? Talk!
Shh, not so loud.
Oh, I can be much louder than this. And resort to other means of persuasion.
Right there, the threats. Siana to a T. Listen, I exist to restage a fairy tale. If you want to play at it, I'll be happy to oblige. But it won't be easy. The thing is, little Red Riding Hoods popped her clogs.
What?
1,000 times they cut my gut open, filled it full of rocks and drowned me in the river. So once you stopped coming, I decided to repay the little imp for all her loving labor. Who now rots at the bottom of the well, she and the hunter, which means we can't play, and I'm under no obligation to talk to you, not about beans, nor anything else. So leave me be. Sod off.
God, my outfit actually weirdly matches hers, which kind of creeps me out.
Wolf's pretty cranky.
Surprised? Think about it. He was cast in the role of the Nemesis without ever asking for it. It's a dog's life, I tell you.
So, what now?
Don't worry. I'll play with him. Or rather, play him. I just need that little red hood. The piece of apparel, that is. Not the poor girl's corpse.
That's a relief.
You wish to help me? Here's your chance. Jump in the well and fish it out. Well, chop chop.
Right. Time to jump in the well.
Break a leg?
Looks like it worked, by the way. By the way, hi, Muhammad. Didn't say hi earlier. Sorry. I mean, now that it's way too late to get benefit out of it. It was on the main menu, by the way.
Any luck?
Yep. Look what I got.
That would never fit you. Give it to me. How do I look?
That red and black combo actually looks really good. I could see Braegwyn wearing that. Legitimately. Also, what the hell's with the bird? The chicken on the cat, on the dog, on the horse?
Not bad. Not bad at all.
Let's go see the big bad wolf.
Let me guess. You'll play the granddaughter.
And you, the hunter.
Sorry, apparently it's a donkey. I don't actually know fairy tales that well. I mentioned this last time.
I thought I was clear. I will not talk to you if little Red Riding Hood is not with you.
Not a problem. Siana can take her place.
What? Very well. It's not as if I can forbid you. Granddaughter, come closer, sweetie.
But Grandmama, what big eyes you have.
The better to see you with, my dear.
Granny, what big arms you have.
The better to embrace you with, my dear.
And Grandmama, what big teeth you have. Eh?
The better to eat you with, my dear.
What big igni you have! Oh wow, he took 3 hits. Holy crap.
Remember what Joss said about the red bean? A human has it, and he definitely didn't swallow it.
Gotta open his belly. Bottle caps, fake teeth, the corkscrew. Ah, here it is. Red bean.
Well then, one step closer to our goal.
What?
Now, I find myself wondering if you're just horribly discreet, or if those mutations completely scrubbed away your curiosity. Are you really not interested in what happened? In what became of me after they cast me out?
Well, since you brought it up, I'd gladly hear the rest. Let's see. They'd escorted you out of the duchy.
Yes, and the noble knights of Toussaint, I didn't stop until we reached the Ketdu wilderness. They left me there alone, without a copper, in a torn lace dress, right when the frosts were setting in. They assumed something would eat me, or that I'd do everyone a favor and die of hunger. But as always, I failed to live up to expectations. I wandered the woods for a week, went purple from the cold, gnawed the bark from twigs. Finally, I saw a light among the trees. A campsite. They were bandits, bearded, drunk, spattered with blood. I was sure they'd rape me or kill me, or both.
Take it neither happened?
That's when I learned a robber and a murderer can be a better man than a knight in shining armor. They took me in, we set off for Nazaire, and I did what I could to repay them. I advanced in their ranks rather quickly, and eventually I became their leader. Of the whole ragged band.
Should have stayed there, maybe.
Perhaps. Perhaps I should have forgotten everything, started a new life. But you know what? There came a point when I thought, you wanted a monster. Then a monster you shall get.
This is going to sound like a weird statement, but I kind of get that mentality. Oh, not personally. Just kind of distantly. Anybody who knows anything about the Horde Alliance conflict probably understands that mentality.
Been through a lot.
I have. And throughout this time, my sister was stomping grapes and shiking minstrels on down betting.
She wasn't the one to banish you.
And I'm not angry at her for that. I'm angry at her because she forgot about me.
Right. We've had our chat. Come.
This is going to sound so weird, but I really like the visuals of this place. Like, it's so saccharine and cartoony, and I actually enjoy the way it's presented.
Henrietta?
Do you jest? I adored her. My darling little sis. So adorable. So sweet. Yet when they banished me from the palace, she didn't so much as peek out of the window.
She might not have known. Maybe just couldn't.
And could she also not grant me amnesty when she was crowned? Please.
Oh, she's super wrong. Now, I actually did a little looking into this. She actually wasn't crowned until relatively recently, when her husband, who was a horrible person by all accounts, died. I don't know how long ago it was, but I just thought that was interesting. That was after the Dandelion incident.
Oh look! The Emperor of Nilfgaard! He's come out to show off his new robe.
Oh, the three little pigs' holes. Well, you know the story, don't you? Who's afraid of the big bad wolf?
Looks like Big Bad's already blown down the houses of straw and sticks. Brick's the only one left.
We should look inside. Remember Joss's words?
One bean lies out in the open, guarded by 3 nobodies. Yeah, could be it.
So I'm just admiring the cloak. I've always been a sucker for capes. Probably doesn't help that I make capes look good. Okay, fine.
Ugly bastard.
Oh, Pumbotch, they didn't like that!
They're fine. I was actually thinking it was Amir's model at first until I looked at it more closely.
The big bad witcher huffed and puffed, and look, got a bean.
It cannot be!
What cannot be?
You actually have a sense of humor.
Why so shocked?
Well, when you arrived, all you did was pout and mumble things in that graphily monotone. And now this. A jest. And a good one at that. But here we are chatting away when there's work to do. We must keep looking.
I was referencing the first thing, Kamek, because, like I said, like you said, he had to run, because husband.
Got a problem with magic in general. Illusions, portals, all that. Don't trust any of it.
A bow of old-fashioned tastes, eh? I like that.
I'm not sleeping with you, Siana. There's one thing my dad taught me. It's don't put your dick in crazy. I'm just kidding. He never actually taught me that. But it's still a valid lesson. So, does anyone remember when I streamed this last time?
Hey, watch it.
Because, I did something on accident
You stepped on Thumbelina!
last time.
That was my favorite tale.
Why's that?
Because it wasn't about a princess. Tales about princesses are insufferable.
And, yeah, I was pretty horrified. I remember it very distinctly. In fact, I think someone clipped it because I was like, oh, hey, wonder if I can step on him. And I was just joking. And then it actually let me step on her. And I was just horrified that it actually let me step on Thumbelina. What the hell, game? I mean, look at this. Won't let me do this, but it'll let me step on her. I was actually wondering why Henrietta has a thing against him, because nothing I read indicated why she might be, you know, against Dandelion, other than the fact that it's Dandelion. Okay, so we're going to make a hard save here. Ah, he cheated on her. Okay.
Always grapple up her braid in the past, but I don't see it anywhere.
We'll find another way up.
I mean, that's a valid question, Geludo. It is Dandelion. He must die.
Could pull myself up here, and I'll have to make that jump.
If you say so, I shall wait down here if it's all the same. Climbing's not my strong suit.
Damn it, Tyron.
His corpse. Tried to free Longlocks, but fell and broke his neck.
And she's gonna make, oh god, I can't remember the name of it. Oh, crap. Wrong button. Really? Game? Really? Really? Game? Really? I make the jump the first try without any issues, and now I just can't seem to make this jump again. In case you're wondering, I hit F instead of E. That's why I fell the first time. There we go. So, E, 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 E. There we go. Just putting it in my brain. Aw. There's got to be a trope for this. Jumping puzzles in games that don't actually have jumping mechanics. A lot of games do that. Like, a lot of games do that. Let's slow down for a little bit for this one.
Hanged herself by her own hair.
That's,
Yellow bean. Here it is. Would have stunk to climb all that way for nothing.
fumbling puzzles. I like that. Ooh, magic food. I like magic food. Maybe. I've wondered many times what magic food would taste like, as weird as that probably sounds. So, decent design there, giving us a path down quickly.
So?
Got the bean, but long logs. Seems she got sick of waiting for a knight in shining armor.
Can you blame her? Men these days, dandies and fops all.
That why you cozied up to a vampire?
Dettlaff was a tool, and only a tool.
Too bad he didn't know that.
I trust no one. Learned that long ago. Now it's his turn.
To use him. Was that your plan from the start?
No. At first I was simply intrigued. Do you know the story? It was in Mettina, a few years past. I'd gone there to pass some loot off to a fence I know. We were hashing out the terms when in walked Dettlaff. He said he'd come to sell a silver candlestick. He gripped it through a cloth. That caught my eye. I followed him out, observed him from a distance, but he caught on quickly.
Yeah, superhuman senses will do that.
He turned down a blind alley. I followed. He jumped out from behind a crate, baring his teeth. I suppose he'd wanted to frighten me. Alas, he didn't in the least. After all, I'm a monster too, am I not?
A higher vampire and you were unimpressed? Don't know if that's brave or just plain foolish.
I've always had a way with ostensibly dangerous, quiet types.
That's supposed to be about me, too?
Ugh, brother, I hate to disappoint you, Geralt, but your belly button is not the center of the known world. Though, you do remind me of him a bit, stifling all emotions inside you, ever feigning indifference. You see, when I met Dettlaff, somehow I knew, call it intuition, that he meant me no harm, that he was trying to frighten me off, for he too was scared. Now do you understand?
I guess.
I'm pretty sure Ciri could override Henrietta on that, if she could get involved before the actual execution happened.
What happened then?
We talked, then met up once, twice, 3 times. Enough that he became infatuated. I truly enjoyed it at first, but only at first. He did not love like a man, but like an animal, madly, deeply, unconditionally, wildly. To return such a feeling, anyone would be hard-pressed, let alone someone as twisted as I am.
So there came a day you just up and disappeared.
Yes, there was no other way. Let's just be friends, or I don't deserve you. He'd never have understood that sort of thing. But then, once I decided to return, clean up some old affairs, I remembered him and concluded he could still be of use.
Playing with fire, that.
Definitely. And either I'll get burned, or I'll burn all else down. No other options.
My revenge is too important to me. Well, I'm not sure if she'd destroy the entire country alone, but I have a feeling that Henrietta herself might not survive the encounter.
Got a history with Dettlaff now, so this meeting will be different. Not afraid?
I can handle him.
Mm-hmm. Sure about that?
You look at him as a witcher and see a monster. I know what he's really like. You needn't worry. It's time to go. Just a bit more work and we'll be able to say sod off to this fecking fable sphere.
So yeah, that whole conversation helped to convince me
Path near Longlock's tower. Then prepare to meet the giant.
that she's, you know, not redeemable. Especially since she showed no signs of wanting to be redeemed. So we're going to make a hard save here. I will take any unwanted children off your hands. Chubby ones preferred, though skinny ones won't be turned away. The witch. To the Joker who's always stuffing things under my mattress. I'm warning you for the last time. If I catch you, I'll have you lashed, scalded, flayed, and finally torn apart by horses. Princess Alexia. At last night's ball, I danced with a lady with blue eyes and blonde hair tied up in a bun. At the stroke of midnight she left, leaving behind a glass slipper. Each woman in the land of 1,000 fables is to appear before me on the slipper until I determine the lady's identity, and in due course propose matrimony. Failure to appear will be punishable by flogging. One of my eggs hatched into something ugly. I suspect Madame Duck cheated on me with one of the 6 swans, though she denies everything. I'll play good coin for evidence of her guilt. Full anonymity assured. So there's the ugly duckling. Tobacco, fistek, and liquor from absinthe to Everclear. The customer is always right. From the girl who sells it all. So I mentioned this last time. I still don't know who the girl who sells Flint is. I know it's a fairy tale or sometime, but I've never even heard of it. Contract. Lucy this goosey. Somebody's after me. Ever since I moved here from the castle in the clouds, I feel like I'm being watched. Help me before it's too late. Balbina the goose, known as the goose that lays golden eggs. P.S. I know Josh says it's him, but it's not. That's the boy who cried wolf, obviously. Aw, I can't do the contract? Aw.
Contract from a goose. That's new.
Do you really aim to concern yourself with that?
A true witcher should never abandon poultry in distress.
Hang on, apparently we can't actually do it. Where is it? There it is. We must help the goose. It's very important. Girl with matchsticks. Yeah, that's... Uh-huh.
Doesn't seem to be at home.
So what's the moral of that particular horrible tale? Because they're all horrible.
A feather. Broken. There was a fight.
God, I keep seeing this blue glow and being like, what the hell is that?
Or did it just get plucked?
Watch out! Pixies!
Eh. It's just pixies. Wow, that is horrible, Gimmick. But then again, I did kind of call that, so whatever.
Hey, there, in the trees. Some kind of camp.
Goose is ours! Her golden eggs as well!
Redbeard?
Barbarous Barbarossa, not on your life!
Ooh.
But why keep her in a cage? Eggs from free-range birds are so much better. Oh well. Where's the key?
Here it is. Got it. Good thing you posted that notice. Never would have found you otherwise.
Thanks.
Oh look, she laid a golden egg for you.
If only all my employers were that generous.
Did you really travel all the way here for a contract?
Nature of the job.
I don't believe it. You must have had another reason.
Well, spent a few idyllic months in Boclair some time past. Part of me wanted to come back, I think.
Oh yes. Visit Toussaint once and you'll always long to return.
I mean, it's true. I couldn't wait to get to this expansion. And as I've already said, I wouldn't mind living here. Oh god, Ariant. That's an interesting theory. Whoops. Stuck on shrooms.
Stuck to top each other. What was the tale called again?
The musicians of Blaviken. Huh. You've some link to the town as well, don't you?
But my tale's not much like this one.
Okay, so let's get that another hard save. We got 3 hard saves in here so far. Hopefully this will be enough.
Care for a cigarillo? A bit of tobacco? A dab of fistek?
We already saw this.
Hey, is that so?
The ribbon. Mind explaining what the fuss is about?
There's not much to explain. I got it from Aturius Vigo when I was a child. It was to protect me from evil. It clearly didn't work, given how I ended up.
But it means a lot to you.
How should I put this? I have so few mementos from my childhood, and the ribbon reminds me of the good old days, when I was someone else.
Dears, could you continue this touching scene elsewhere, You're scaring away my customers.
Give Siana the ribbon. Why not, huh?
Sugar plum. The only thing I hand out for free is a first hit. To get them to come back for a second, of course. For all else, you've got to pay.
What if I asked you nicely?
Ask me nicely and I might play you for it. A round of cards?
All right, let's play. If you lose, you give me the ribbon.
Don't get your hopes up. None can best me at Gwent.
I was about to say, really? Well, alright, I guess I'll try to defeat you at Gwent. It's going to be very difficult, though. So I decided to do a little math while I was listening to that cutscene. That egg, this is very estimated, but at current market prices, will be worth roughly $358,400. Also known as enough money to set me, and only me, up for life. Assuming no taxes, obviously. She plays a Scoia'tael? I'm not fighting someone who plays a Scoia'tael.
Rumpole, you're good at this. A word once given. The ribbon's yours. Now skedaddle.
All right. Tell me.
What?
What you want in return. You're not doing this out of the kindness of your heart.
Don't want anything in return.
Thank you.
That very small tidbit reminds me a bit of Morrigan. There's a point at which you can give Morrigan, over in Dragon Age Origins, a very personal and very... a gift that she loves, basically, that really connects with her. And you don't expect anything for it. It's just a gift, and you can say that. And she just has no idea how to deal with that. She just kind of... It's one of the few times Morrigan is caught completely incapable of responding and just kind of stutters. Like, I suppose people say thank you when they receive gifts? Like, she's just so uncertain. It's a wonderful scene. Oh, wow, there's so many pixies. I can't even move.
Right, this is the spot. Pull out the beams.
Ma'am, I am taken, thank you very much.
Wait!
Why?
The stalk will sprout abruptly. Very abruptly. We must be careful.
So she runs away.
All right, toss them!
Something's always gotta go wrong.
The home stretch.
God, that just sounds like a pain to climb, honestly. Look at that. Alright, now to sleep with her. Whew. Now that we've worked up an appetite.
Incredible.
Admire the view later. First, we must deal with... him.
Nice weapon. The what hazardous? Cute. In combat or after hazardous? Okay. It's relevant because, you know.
For a
God,
fairy tale
Gimmick.
creature, that was one tough son of a wench.
I told you this land had gone ape mad, though I did not expect it to be so severe.
Can't help thinking you might have done that on purpose.
Why ever would I have?
To get rid of your guard, your captor. Getting close to the exit at this point. Probably think you don't need me anymore.
Well, you're wrong. You still stand to be quite useful to me.
Oh, how flattering. Darkest. So which one should I pick here? Oh, that's the sex flag. Okay, okay. Then no.
Yeah, I know. Gotta get you out of here. Come on.
Wait, that's not what I meant. I need you for something far simpler and far more pleasant. Well, don't just stand there and stare. I need a man, Geralt, and I'm not afraid to say it. I've no idea what awaits me once we leave this place. Treat it as my last wish.
What in the world? I'm actually a little curious why they allow this as an option. Like, I'm all for player options, really, I am. But this just feels out of left field. This is right up there with sleeping with Morinth over in Mass Effect 2. Not as bad, but still on the same tier of why?
Another time, another place, maybe. No offense.
None taken. You spoke clearly, you spoke honestly. It's fine.
I mean, she even said flat out, I have a use for you. Like, that's the way she phrased that sentence.
Come. The exit's this way.
I don't know if control has... Oh, there we go. Hey, there's a glowy ball thing directly in front of me.
Another will-o'-the-wisp.
Get back here, will-o'-the-wisp. I will kill you. Death, dude. Hey, where are you going? Get back here. Get back here. I will eat you. It's a fairy, right? That's how that works. And I'm only down to 3 hearts, so... What fairy tale is this from? Yeesh. Oh, for God's sakes. Really? Dark Souls reference. Really? Ah, it's a silver sword. Pity. 'Cause nothing's ever replacing Erendite. I mean, come on. Thank you very much, the good senator. Much appreciated, as always. Do you happen to know what you'd like to put that towards? Okay, now I gotta figure out how to get out of here. It wants me to go the other way, doesn't it? Yeah, alright. Maybe not? And yeah, something like that, if we're being honest, something like that is probably the reference to Witcher 3 that we will get in Cyberpunk, I would imagine. Speaking of Cyberpunk, it's 2 people who put money towards Cyberpunk today. Okay, in all honesty, why is this not working? What do you want from me, game? How do I get back up? This is going to be one of those really obvious things I'm missing, isn't it? Loading. Yeah, it looks like a soft lock. Actually, speaking of which, there's a soft lock I didn't count. So we're up to 10 crashes so far. Crashes. Well, I think that deserves 20 negatives. Ah, great, and now I'm back down. How do I get back up? Seriously. How am I supposed to get back up? Actually irritating. Well, alright, let's go with my presumption, which is that we're supposed to fall. So, we... Right where? If this soft locks again, I'm going to be amused. I can guarantee a soft lock. All I have to do is fall into the white haze. It's the fog of soft lock. No, it's probably the animation related thing, because technically... So whenever I die from falling, I'm technically stunned, and I have to really mess with the controls to basically get unstunned. Thus, it's probably trying to load me doing the flailing animation. But it can't. Because I'm incapable of moving, hence the problem. Well, it would have been nice to know that, Blackfile, because I couldn't frickin' see it, as was pretty obvious. So thank you, Tesvir, for actually telling me what to look for. God. Frickin' cave. Meanwhile...
Portals in a fountain? Not terribly practical.
It was a secret passage. Henriette and I would use it to...
hide from your governess, which luckily she noted down in her diary, thus I knew where to await you. Never mind that. Has the young lady agreed to help clean up the mess she's made?
You're not a subber, Eric. That's why you can't use them.
And stop treating me as if I were a child.
Would you prefer I treated you like the lying manipulator you are?
Siana, you've already run afoul of one vampire. Don't start a fight with another, all right?
Then tell said other vampire to stop taunting me.
I shall do my utmost.
Let's go. Really want to be done with this.
Thank you, Eric. Much obliged as always. And welcome to the 2-year club. Do you happen to know where you want to slot that towards? So yeah, we're basically going to try and show off all 3 endings. We may fail, but we're going to try.
Nice place.
Isn't it? Offers a lovely view of the valley. On a clear day, you can see the outlines of Duntine.
Is it, though? A ruin like any other, I think.
So sensitive. So aware. Honestly, what did Dettlaff ever see in you?
Perhaps he'll tell you himself.
You nervous?
Mm-hmm. It's always a bit nerve-wracking meeting an ex. Especially so when said ex is a vampire.
I doubt he'll be in the mood for jests.
I know. May I be honest? Yes, I'm nervous. I really would prefer just to run off. I gave my word I would help, I know. But how much is that worth? Yet I owe him this meeting. And that is that.
Let's get ready. Dettlaff will be here any moment now.
Kind of wish I could have made a manual save in here somewhere, but whatever, as they say.
Siana, I have a question I must ask you.
Did you truly feign it all? That which bound us was a ruse?
Dettlaff, it's not that simple.
Oh no, it's very simple. You either deceived me or not. In forgiving you, I grieve. For now, we must part.
What? But how?
All right. God dang it. I was going to show off the bad ending first.
Ha! Seems I've been fooled again.
God.
She will pay for
God
this.
damn it. God damn it. Ugh. I'm an idiot. That's all on me. That's okay. We should be able to zip through some of the rest of this pretty quick. God, I'm stupid. Why am I so freaking stupid? The second time I've screwed up on this lore run. Come on.
Right, this is the spot. Pull out the beans. Just a bit more and I'll be free. At last!
Can't
What?
to get
What?
yeah,
Oh, what the...
another
None. Come.
will-o'-the-wisp.
It was
Hot. Would you?
But
No, that's night
Isn't
is perhaps
I?
I may yet.
What I... Boclair will know peace once more. The vampires...
Whoops, I went too far.
I shall leave as well. Go far away, far from men. You can try to stand in my way. Then I shall kill you both. Though that is not at all my will. The decision is yours.
Anyways, he kills Siana.
you can go. But if ever we meet again,
I shall keep my distance, believe me. Geralt, Regis, farewell.
I'm sorry. I swore to protect her, I know, but it happened so fast. What have we done?
let a killer walk. Isn't that what you wanted from the start, though? We have to let Anna Henrietta know.
Geralt, you will face...
I know. All the same, we have to inform her.
Yeah, I would probably write a letter, honestly. So here we are, in prison.
Hey there, Geralt of Rivia.
What do you want?
Me? Not a thing. Name's Handsome Jacques, and I've already got it all. What I wonder is if there's anything you'd need.
What can you get me exactly?
Exactly. Anything a patron of this little auberge might desire. From decent victuals that won't stew your innards to a dab of fisty to make you fly. Even brought in a slinky piece of arse once. A boarder claimed to suffer from glandular overactivity or some such. You see, out there beyond the walls, I'm a lowly dog's body. But here, in the kingdom of the clink, I'm the king.
Can't readily think of anything.
Come now, maid. We all need something. You've just not been in here long enough to know.
Yeah, we may have deliberately gotten Siana killed. Only after I screwed up like an idiot, though. Hi, Tonic.
You know me? How?
No. That's a stretch. No, I wouldn't say that, no. But I do know they've assigned you to the laundry, same as me. And I know what you're in for, your dastardly deed. Then again, I know that about every jester who winds up here.
Kinda curious to know what you know, or think you know.
The Duchessa hired you to find the butcher of Boclair. And you did, but then you let him butcher dear Anarietta's sis.
I like that. Let him.
This brute simply vanished. Dropped off the face of the earth, though in his case, turned to vapor, might be the better phrase.
Seem pretty well informed.
Best informed mutt in this kennel, paws down. Duchessa's cross, no doubt, while you await your trial, though she never seemed concerned for her sister before.
Since you seem to know so much, tell me one last thing. My sentence, what'll it be?
None can tell you that. Henrietta's a fickle cocotte. There's just no knowing which teeth she's like to flesh. But I'd advise against escape. You're a prisoner among many now. Take flight, though. Make it out. Public enemy number 1.
Only in Tucson. I mean, it's not like I want to settle here for the rest of my life.
Why'd they lock you up?
Hodgepodge. I had no domicile, but had to winter somewhere, so I robbed a shopkeeper. Couldn't have made a worse mistake. The penalty was a fine, an amount I couldn't pay, so they switched it to lashes, meted out on my bum. After that, I shifted course, started pinching bigwigs' noses. Cut the tail of Count Beauvieux's steed. Got a year and a half for that. My next exploits had to be grander, even greater wrongs. So I carefully chose my victim, Marshal de la Stake. Filled his cask with dung from between my very own cheeks. That got me 3 years of free room and board. I'll pull another prank as soon as they let me out. Made it a career. It's become my way of life.
I don't want to get into controversial territory, but this is a thing that happens in real life. No, seriously, there are people in real life now who actively go out of the way to commit and deliberately get caught in petty crimes, to spend time in jail, because that's their life. Free room and board, basically.
We gonna report for this laundry duty? Rather get it over with.
Away we go. Personally, I'm pleased we're assigned to it. Those rags stink like sick in the sun, but you get used to it. And when you're working, you get more bread.
Yeah, this is probably one of the weirdest endings.
Ross, I'll get it good if you get my bleeding bum wipes. And to think they locked me up for selling rancid food. Stop your ogling. This is no cabaret. Will you play or not?
What's the stake?
Look at this. Not 2 fleece to his name, and he asks about stakes. You can bet those racks you're wearing.
What'll I get if I win?
Bread. I put some aside for Stefan, but it won't kill him to go hungry.
Who's Stefan?
None of your rotten business. A rat. So, playing?
Why not?
Lay them out then.
Good thing I would never cheat at Gwent in prison. That might actually be dangerous. I agree, by the way, Kay. The total lack of music is getting a little weird, though, I'll tell you what. I mean, I get that it's on purpose, but, you know.
You fleeced me, harlot's brood. Now Stefan will have to go hungry.
New item received. Bread.
He's sorry.
No one else will play with you in this coop. And be careful not to slip on any soap.
Oh, I will.
By the way, I'm locked into this walk. I can't do anything. I can barely access my inventory. Look at this. It's okay, I've still got a roasted chicken leg on me. 11 things of bread. Wolven potion. 10 things of water. 5 red dyes. Stanny, see if you can get a small hammer and chisel for me, the kind used for stone carving. If you manage, put them in the drop-off spot. I'll pick them up and get you that placard, but I'll need 2 days to get it to you. Placard will wait in the same drop-off spot. Hope you won't hang yourself till then. It's worth waiting, because this is a work of a greatest master of Sidaris, or at least that's what my man claims. It would be more accurate, Kay, to say that I deliberately went out of my way to not get the ribbon, to ensure that she died. It was all I cared about. Well, you know, that and showing it off for the lore run. Excuse me, this isn't a lore run, of course. God, it's weird going so slowly. Is it in here? The only thing I fast-forwarded through was him actually killing her. I stopped the scene after that, so I'm not too worried about it. That was only a minor mistake. Completely forgetting to get her killed deliberately, that was a big mistake. Yeah, Jaluda. All you have to do is get Siana killed and then fight Dettlaff. And then he dies. So, and then she also dies. I rather deliberately didn't fight him, because I'll fight him more legitimately later. Wait 7 days. Yeah, no, we're not doing that. Okay. You know, I'd make fun of this prison, but it actually seems to be in pretty decent shape compared to, you know, most other prisons we've seen in this game. Which makes sense, Tucson. Like you do.
Rags in the top. I'll see to the suds and water.
Yes, I'm very sexy. Let's go.
Take the stick and stir the rags. Water's almost boiled.
Okay. There's no troll guarding it.
Who have we here?
The Guardian of Gutter Snipes locked in the clink. How did that happen?
My. What could the Duchess's favorite have done to deserve this?
I like how Geralt's just still doing the wash.
I'm busy.
Hear that? The laundry wench is busy. Yet I fear we have a matter to resolve. Remember our meeting, bootblack bodyguard?
You go ahead and chit. I'll be back once you're done.
Thanks for sticking around to help, Jacques.
You're in the coop, mate. Only one thing counts here, survival. Folk don't stick their necks out for anyone besides themselves.
Boo-hoo. He left you all alone.
I'm ambivalent. What do you think? We could beat the crap out of them. Or mind control them. Which would mean we can mind control in a prison, which just actually makes me laugh a little bit.
Come on. Be constructive. Make yourselves useful.
Yes, we should see to the wash, or they'll put us in confinement.
Hey, the mutant's trying charms on us. Can't you see? Your tricks won't work here, lad. You cannot mesmerize all three of us at once. Grab yourselves washboards, boys.
Oh, okay. Boom! Do-do-do-do-do-do. Oh yeah, I can still... Oh, I can't do Igni. That's strange.
What is going on here?
Nothing.
I'm not asking you, but the one on the floor. Have you anything to say?
I slipped on some soap.
You slipped on soap.
Lots of soap here. It is a laundry.
Harlots brutes. Solitary for the lot of you. You'll have ample time to consider. Think about the choices you've made in life. I'll make certain of it.
Didn't do anything to deserve solitary.
Shut it! Milton was my cousin. You let him die. Was the Duchess's coin not enough? Did you expect more to save a good man's life?
Arrived too late. Nothing I could do.
And when the beast tore apart the Duchess's sister, too late then too? Were it up to me, you'd have hanged already. And don't you try any witcher tricks on me. You will end oh so badly if you do.
One week
Your own free
later.
will, Stefan? Or did they lock you up too? Bet you're thinking about food. What you'll eat once you're free. Mutton leg. That's what I'm dreaming of. Well roasted on the outside, nice and juicy in the middle.
Are you the lout from Rivia?
Yep, I'm that lout.
Come with me. You're to be sentenced.
To what?
To shut it. What am I, the town crier? Hands behind your back. Now let's go, and no funny business.
This may sound strange, but I've always been weirded out about how much Geralt just goes along with all of this.
Get ready. Soon all your problems will be solved, once and for all.
Do you know where this leads?
No. Hope it's the exit, though.
You guessed it. The thing is, there are different kinds of exits. Some walk this path to freedom. Others walk it straight into eternity.
Which am I headed for?
I don't know. Yet one thing is certain. You will never walk this path again.
The rat was Stefan, the one he's been talking to for the last week.
Mark Dubois, you are hereby judged guilty of trampling Alice Valref, the cupbearer's wife, while on horseback. The woman's condition is critical.
It was an accident. I was riding fast, true, but she jumped out in front of me.
In light of the above, there can be but one sentence. Death by decapitation.
No, I didn't do anything! Help! There must be witnesses!
Off with his head. Next.
Paul, the Witcher, take him to the tower. That's an order.
An order's an order. Guess you're not next after all. Follow me. You're supposed to follow me.
Why do you make me watch that execution?
So you'd know this is no almshouse for lost orphan boys.
Wanted me to think I was next. Enjoy that? Getting a rise out of folk?
You guessed it. The harlots' hounds that land here, I detest them. So I do everything in my power so they'll know they're in the clink, not on holiday.
Yeah, I'd probably just kill this guy.
I've brought the prisoner, sir.
Unbind him and leave us. Greetings, Witcher.
Your face doesn't look good. What happened?
The city was overrun, and I had no intention of hiding beneath my bed and waiting things out. But my scars pale in comparison to the fate Siana met with. The fate that was your doing. I trusted you. And how did you repay me? Consider it, Witcher. Why do you think the Duchessa had Siana hidden away to start with? Can you guess?
I'm sorry. Might not believe me, but couldn't have predicted that turn of events. Certainly never wanted that.
Enough. We shall speak of it no more.
Guess there's been a decision in my case.
Truly, is that all you care about? Your own hide?
Not only. Also care how the Duchess feels, for example. And I hope that, unlike you, she doesn't blame this all on me.
A court heard your case, not Anna Henrietta. The facts are as follows. You were hired to kill the beast. Not only did you fail in that endeavor, but you also caused the death of our Duchessa's sister. Have I missed anything? I'll have you know that were it up to me, you would rot in our dungeon until your dying day.
Glad you didn't have the deciding vote then.
At any rate, I am not the best person to tell you what was decided in your matter. I'd say the man who worked hardest to tip the scales in your favor should.
What are you talking about? What man? Dandelion?
Sheesh, Geralt. You look like you've seen a ghost.
A ghost wouldn't have surprised me half this much, I promise you. What are you doing in Boclair?
Officially, visiting Henrietta. That is to say, the Duchess. We're old friends. But you know that. Unofficially, I'm saving your hiney.
You? You're a persona non grata in Toussaint. Undesirable.
Didn't stop me from risking my skin for you. In my book, friendship is all that matters. Well, friendship and love. And art. Oh, and wine.
Now, I want to give this section credence. Not only is it a nice long section, but they make us play a decent chunk of the prison section, and there's almost no music the entire time. It helps, it actually adds wonderfully to the atmosphere. It all feels very empty and mundane, in a way that would actually usually be bad design in just about any other section of a game, but here it just helps to emphasize just how bad things have gotten. It is when Dandelion shows up that the music starts up again.
How'd you even know I was in prison?
Regis came to see me right after they locked you up. I mean, Regis, right? Can you believe that? To come back after... Amazing. He told me everything, and naturally, I couldn't possibly leave you to rot in there.
Take it I'm free, thanks to you. How'd you manage it?
Oh, I have my ways. Took a little persuasive logic, blended in some deft rhetoric, then added a generous pinch of charm, and voila, you're free. But just so you know, it wasn't easy. In fact, it was pretty damn hard. Duchess was so furious, I think she even forgot she'd banished me from Boclair. For life. All she could do was scream that you'd never set foot outside that dungeon again.
How'd you get her to take a fresh look at things?
I appealed to the faultless intentions that guided you, to your reputation, your accomplishments, and, well, ultimately she changed her mind, and you're free. Never wants to see you again, but even got her to leave your vineyard with you. You won't get a copper of your promised reward, but you'll keep your estate.
Dandelion, you're a regular master of diplomacy. Thanks.
Listen, you do whatever needs doing, but I've got to get to the cemetery. Henrietta's in bad shape with Siana dead. Some folk forget that under the ducal regalia, she's just an ordinary woman who's lost a loved one.
Loved one.
Been meaning to ask you, how's Priscilla?
All right. Recovering steadily from the horror she's been through.
So, you two, you're still...
Of course we are. How could you even think it was otherwise?
No idea. Just within the realm of possibilities. But please be careful not to lead Anna Henrietta on. Suggest you've come here for any reason beyond getting me out of my predicament.
The bond between the Duchess and myself is one of pure friendship, nothing more. Now, off to console a friend in need.
All right. See you later.
See you, Geralt.
Off we go. You'll collect your things at the door. Follow me to the exit.
So, allow me to say that I don't actually like this ending all that much. I mean, there's some things about it that are well executed, but it feels like a few nice points in an otherwise kind of experience. I could believe Anna Henrietta being this, let's call it what it is, horrible. Damien kind of going this direction bothers me more than a bit. And I feel like there's several parts of this that it really should have just been done better.
Open the gate. Your things are past the first gate. Take them, leave them. I don't really give a fig.
If I was to put it into such terms, I'd say they threw this together to be an option. And then just kind of were like, well, hang on, that doesn't make sense. And they're like, well, yeah, but we got to do it. So they did it. Like, as much as I have faith in Dandelion's abilities, I gotta agree with what someone else said. The idea... Hang on. The idea of us actually managing to not only go free, but keep our estate is actually pretty low. Getting us free, sure, but I would imagine banishment would be our actual fate here.
So wide. Someone's liable to see. Could mean trouble.
I can't help myself. Just so glad to see you.
Glad to see you too, my vampire friend.
But of course, banishment and seizing the estate would basically mean you don't have a post-game. And you can't do side quests or whatever, right? I mean... basically, this whole section just doesn't work for me, just to put it simply and bluntly. The other two endings, I think, work much better.
Thanks for getting Dandelion to come out.
It was nothing. True, he was not at first terribly eager to face the Duchess, but I managed to persuade him his person was indispensable.
Well played. Dandelion loves being indispensable.
Yet he so rarely is, poor man.
What did you do while
While you vegetated in that correctional facility, I used the time to think. Wish to know what I thought about?
Of course.
The relationship between two numbers. Dettlaff's 4 victims and the 5 chivalric virtues. As you've no doubt noted, there's a difference of 1.
Mean to tell me, after all we've figured out, that you now believe in the whole 5 virtues punished theory?
Belief's got nothing to do with it. It's cold logic, deduction. Siana went to great lengths to make folk believe the beast was punishing those who betrayed the virtues. Were I in her shoes, I'd make sure the number of victims matched. Are you not at all curious who was meant to be the 5th?
If I say yes, what then?
Then you'll come with me for another chat with the bootblack. You see, I've learned he delivered the notes to Dettlaff. Our search starts with him.
Now, if I'm not mistaken, we could basically quit here, right? Like, this is when it merges into the other endings, I think? Or does it? Please correct me. Because, you know, I'm a little bit off the map here.
Fine, see what he has to say. Could use a good walk, work out the kinks if nothing else.
Come then.
Now I wait for some confirmation or denial. We'll just keep going until someone answers me.
Oh, it's the chap with the swords. Sir, you look like some beast ate you up then spat you out. Are you here for a spiffing? Boots make the man, they say. Step on up.
Need to ask you something.
Yet again? Go on then. I'm a proponent of free speech and I will gladly tell you all I know. But why not get your boots shanked while we jabber?
Not wearing boots just now, but guess I could pull a pair on.
Then I shall take advantage as well. A friend of mine used to say boots should be as clean as the soles that wear them.
Clean boots, clean soles. A fine slogan.
How's business?
Well enough, I can't complain. Though it'd be even better were certain folk to sit down for a shine as they stood and chatted.
Man in the frock coat. You passed him some letters, remember?
Why, of course. I'm young, got a mind like a steel trap, but...
If you're about to tell me this information'll cost me, forget it. How'd you get those letters?
Beggars brought them.
Why didn't you tell us this before, when we first talked?
You didn't ask about beggars now, did you?
Beggars. Tell us more about them. How many were there?
Why, 4. 1 for each letter.
Just 4? Sure you didn't get a 5th?
I can't count, you know.
Remember anything else? These beggars have anything in common?
What? Come now. Each was different. Some had mismatched boots, others had no boots at all. Oh, I know! They all had no home!
Kid, my patience is starting to run a little thin. Now think hard. Remember what they looked like?
Of course. I've a mind like a steel trap, as I said. They were ragged, unshaved. Their clothes were tattered. As to their boots, well, I mentioned that already.
Geralt, allow me to ask a question. Listen, lad. I'll be glad to mix another batch of that boot shine for you. But you must focus now and tell us all you know. Where can we find the beggars?
Well, at the shelter, most like.
Where's that?
Everyone knows. It's just round the corner. Up those stairs, then right.
Thanks, kid. For your trouble. We must visit the shelter. Look around inside.
Henrietta, you're breaking my heart.
I mean, I've seen these cutscenes, so I'm just going to keep going because I don't know when they diverge or if they diverge. So forgive me, because we're probably going to be... We're going to have some bleed over, is what I'm trying to say, across the 3 endings, okay? Sorry, guys.
Let's keep our calm. Our calm is exactly what you disturb. Your vagrants bring pestilence, take work from honest folk, and sponge off ducal relief.
My folk do not harm. And they've nowhere else to go.
We don't give a You? What do you want?
To talk.
Here, that's a waste of breath. We've tried it, only to tire our lips. We'll use other means of persuasion now.
Gentlemen, calm, please.
Either get out along with these flea-ridden vagabonds, or we'll toss you all out. Our patience is gone. This place is no longer a rank refuse dump.
Scram! Decent folk live here.
The shelter, them living here, bothers you. Question is why?
Look, Ballard. Another defender of the poor, fighter for justice.
Damn nuisance. We've our women and young folk living next door, when even grown men fear to walk past such rabble.
Decent folk you mention. Mean yourselves.
Why? Do you doubt it?
Hell yes.
Hear that, Artois? He poking insults us. On our own turf.
We should step aside, good fellow. My friend is perfectly capable of settling this unfortunate dispute on his own.
I think you're right, Kay. And I'm agreeing with Hazardous. I think we'll just go ahead and show all this, and then we'll just kind of skip through it on the other 2 endings. Because we're going to have to go through this entire section for both other endings.
All right. I can take a hint. Come, time to go.
I thank you so much for your aid. I tried to reason with them, but they'd have beat me blue had you not come along. I'm grateful. Immensely.
What did they want from you?
They are neighbors. Wish me to take my folk, the shelter, elsewhere. They dislike that I help the beggars. I do not oppose going elsewhere, were we to have somewhere to go. But you've come with a problem, have you? My turn to aid you.
As a quick aside, I think that Geralt and Regis would make a fantastic team. I mean, ignoring Regis' superpoweredness, just his attitude. If Regis was a normal human, I still think Regis and Geralt would make a fantastic team.
What is this place? Poorhouse?
You could call it that. They come here to rest and eat a hot meal.
You help them, why?
Because they need help.
Need some information. Looking for a man who might have mentioned the boot black in Rue de Garl.
The boot black? A feisty lad. I know him.
Any of your, wards supposed to meet him recently or soon?
Forgive me. Those I help and I are not so close that I would know. But should you wait, they'll all soon come for their meal. You can question them yourselves.
Sure all your usual beggars will be here?
They're not obliged to come, of course. but they rarely find a decent meal elsewhere. So, almost all in the area eat here.
Thanks. We'll wait. Nice of you to let us.
My dears, I've a matter to address before I serve the soup. These two gentlemen have some questions of you. Pay attention. Answer in brief. For if you draw it out, your soup will go cold, and we wouldn't want that, would we?
Recently, 4 of you delivered sealed letters to the bootblack. I know this.
Does anyone know what the gentleman means? Go on, speak up. Romain?
Why should I squeal? We were all told not to mention the letters. We all swore.
You can tell me, Romain. You were given a letter and you delivered it, right? Good work, Romain. Thank you. Who else?
I got one too. Gave it to the bootblack. Freshie, he got one. But he can't tell you, as he's not here.
I still have mine. I'm to deliver it 2 days after the Feast of St. Barnabas.
That's actually a valid point, Hazardous. They literally have a homeless shelter in Boclair. Like, that sounds like such a minor thing, but think about that in comparison to Novigrad, for example.
I need the letter. It's very important. It's no use to you anymore.
But I was to deliver it personally. Let no one else see it. That is what she said, and she was frightening.
You ought to heed folk who are kind and honest. These men helped me a short while ago, helped all of us. If this individual threatened you, you need not keep the promise you made.
She's also really dead. Like, really dead.
Take it. I didn't want to see the bootblack anyways. It's always muddy there.
And the 5th victim is Regis. Da, da, da. Actually, I'm sorry. This whole thing is reminding me of something. I'm sorry to interrupt. How many of you have ever... No judgment. How many of you have ever fantasized about basically having access to a holodeck and, like, playing through a story by inserting yourself as one of the existing characters, right? You know, like Data would usually play Sherlock. Similar concept, right? Like, imagine playing through FF6 as Edgar, to use an example, right? Like, anybody? Am I the only one? I bring it up because I would love to play through Witcher 3 as Regis. To slot in the Regis character slot. Sorry.
Damn it.
What is it? Another name, truly?
See for yourself.
Dun, dun, dun.
I must say, even I did not expect this. This time you will see to our Duchessa. It seems we underestimated Siana rather grossly.
Judging by this, Dettlaff was literally supposed to tear her heart out.
Yet first you must snap her neck. Puzzling.
Puzzle complete now.
Alas, the matter's ceased to be a tantalizing brain tease and has turned incredibly grave. We've proof of a plot to assassinate Toussaint's ruler. We've proof of a coup d'etat.
I would probably enjoy playing as Dijkstra as well. And I know this is going to sound weird, but I'd probably enjoy playing Dandelion. I'm one of those weirdos who'd probably just go down the list. You know, I'd play through, to use the example I gave earlier, I'd play through FF6 like 30 times and just play as each character at least once, you know?
Duchess was to be Dettlaff's last victim. Siana planned it from the start.
Indeed. The logical conclusion, Geralt.
4 seemingly random victims to start. The virtue's their only link. Enough to get folk talking about a righteous, vengeful beast. Obscured the victim's links to Siana, even as she had those she despised killed off one by one, leaving the Duchess for last.
Had she managed to fulfill her plan, none would have questioned the reasons. Most would have thought Anna Henrietta had died for her sins. She was known to show a hard heart on many occasions, ample proof of a lack of compassion.
Why would Siana murder her own sister? Out of envy? To take power? From an inborn penchant for evil?
Yes, yes, and yes. All those make sense, and none are mutually exclusive.
Can only guess what drove Siana. Luckily, Anna Henrietta is safe now.
I believe we may dare to assume so. Siana's death was also the death of the Duchess's only natural rival. She is in no danger, for now.
Pretty rare thing for a ruler. What do we do now?
Now we drink. Unless, that is, you feel a witcherly duty to see the Duchess and tell her what we just learned.
I kind of want to, because I've never seen this exact cutscene. I've never seen this far into the bad ending. So let's see what she says to this info, given everything that just happened.
Think this might be something Anna Henrietta should know.
As you wish. I shall await you at Mare la Chaiselongue, a mug of mandrake brew to keep me company.
Not coming with?
No. After the horror Dettlaff brought down upon the city, and in light of Siana's death, I think it wiser not to appear at the palace.
Probably right. See you later then.
Before heading to the palace, you might wish to see if Anna Henrietta is not at the city cemetery. She spent a great deal of time at her sister's grave these last days.
By the way, I agree with Kira. This whole section, which is in all three endings, by the way, really codifies that negative we gave earlier for the 3-day time skip. They could clearly and easily have slotted this in before the attack on Boclair, and then, you know, have this be a logical consequence of trying to lead into all three endings. It would have structurally fit so much better, in my opinion. And of course, it wouldn't have literally taken the controls away from the player and said, no, back. I didn't make it all the way. Damn, almost. I think she'll say, go to hell, Geralt. I believe nothing. You deserve to die, and I am stupid. Now, where is Dandelion? For I must have all of the sex with him. I think that's what she's going to say. Oh yeah, before we see this scene, I gotta say something. I thought of this last night while I was working on something. You may have missed it, but yesterday, Hazardous convinced me not to give a negative for Henrietta because she was actually written well. I mean, she's an idiot and impulsive and a bad ruler and all the other insults we could fling, but it was not a writing problem, right? It was an in-lore problem, not an out-of-lore problem. And so he correctly and rightly argued me down on that negative. But what amused me was, and I didn't realize this until like late last night, I had unknowingly and without meaning to immediately compared her to two other characters. Darth Malik and Garrosh Hellscream. And it just sort of clicked with me a few hours later, like, I guess that says a lot about my opinion on Henrietta.
Geralt, why have you come? Forgotten already? The murderer you were to kill lives, while the Duchess's sister lies dead.
Wouldn't have come if I didn't have to. Promise you that. But I've learned something. Something that might interest Anna Henrietta.
Forgive me if I lend no credence to your word.
Found a letter Siana wrote. To the murderer.
Very well. You may enter. But I make no promises as regards the Duchessa. She mourns her sister in the ducal crypt. Viscount de Lettenhove is with her.
Gosh, I don't know, Disco. I'd have to think about that.
Remember, my dear Henrietta, despair is like a stormy sky. Sooner or later, the sun must drive away the clouds.
I'm sorry. I literally just thought to myself mentally, who the hell is Viscount whatever whatever?
That is easy for you to say. The one murdered was not your sister.
My life hasn't exactly been a bed of roses. True, my sister wasn't murdered. Don't even have a sister, actually, but many times I've lost. Ugh, unimportant.
Your Grace.
The impudence you must harbor to come in here after all that's happened.
Nice outfit, by the way.
I'm sure Geralt's got a very good reason. Right, Geralt?
Before you start dumping accusations on me, I think you should know something. Siana, she was a vicious, wicked woman.
Who are you to tell me who my own sister was?
I'm the man you hired to investigate the Beast of Boclair. And I found a letter your sister wrote to the murderer.
Really? Maybe you should read it then. It could be important.
You read it, Dandelion, aloud to me.
This time you must see to our Duchessa. Anna Henrietta knows nothing of empathy. Her heart is cold. This shard of ice you must tear from her breast.
My sister could never have written that.
Got proof she did.
No. I don't believe you. I don't believe it. Someone seeks to blacken her in my eyes. I won't allow it.
There, Henrietta. Don't get upset.
The letter is vile. It's slander. You must destroy it. Do you hear? No one else must ever read it. Ever!
Consider it done.
And you, out! Get out of here! This is all you're doing! Begone, hear me! I never wish to see you again! I shall never believe she did this. She was not capable. This is an outrage, Dandelion. Tell him it's not true. Tell him it's a dirty lie.
Geralt, get out of here, please. The Duchess, she needs to be alone.
Like I said, Geralt Shellscream
As to her
and Darth Malak.
Didn't go great. Got the full kaleidoscope of her emotional states. Spun through it at an impressive pace, too.
Am I to understand she didn't throw her arms about you and shower you with thanks for saving her from her murderous sister?
Got that right. I don't blame her, though. Luckily, Dandelion was there to smooth things over. Somewhat.
As you know, I had little sympathy for Siana. Nonetheless, I very much regret I could not keep her safe. To you, her ultimate fate, does it still bring on the occasional pang of regret?
Yep. Still.
Well then. Drink up.
Always seemed a very complex creature to me, by your very nature. Not one to go in for simple methods like drinking your worries away.
I fear there are worries for which, quite simply, there is no other medicine.
This is going to sound like a weird statement, but I'm actually weirded out that the game treats this as the bad ending. No, seriously. Arguably, this is probably close to the medium ending of the three. You know, Siana is dead, and she probably deserved to die. And you have the option of killing Dettlaff. So, there you go. Medium ending. So now we're gonna do this. Because I need to get to a menu. Menu. Okay. So that was the bad ending. Now we gotta rewind quite a bit. Let's see, where are we? I gotta find just the right slot. So that's that one at 12.8. So I think this is it. We'll find out in a second. It'll be pretty obvious if this is the slot I want. Oh, there's one city burned. Nah, it's fine, okay. Maybe. At least I think it is. Blah, 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 blah. Blah, 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 blah. No, I'm not having sex with you, you crazy, insane murderess who wanted to kill your own sister. Not doing the Dark Souls thing. Nobody likes Dark Souls, especially not K or Hazardous. I'll try not to skip by it this time.
Hi. Would you read apology? That's no, it isn't.
Is perhaps
I don't.
I'm mehr.
And she's spared!
But how?
Gotta admit, that's a hell of a magic item, by the way. Especially by Witcher standards.
The ribbon. Ha! Seems I've been fooled again. She will pay for this, sooner or later. She will pay! You never should have meddled, Butcher!
Now, as much as I dislike how high-powered vampires are here, it makes sense that we can defeat Dettlaff because we don't do it alone. Regis kind of works him down a bit first for us. And real quick, you'll notice how they gave us a section of having access to the menu and everything. That was a nice touch. Basically, that's the, here, go ahead and prepare your potions and your buffs and whatever else you need to do in order to go ahead and fight the final boss. And they basically just give you that chance to do that. It's a good idea, basically. If they had just cutscened into the final boss with no prep time in a game like this, that would have been bad design. You caught that, by the way, right? Regis couldn't bring himself to really swing down on his defeated opponent, Dettlaff, and then he actually stopped Geralt from attacking him, too. And then Dettlaff counterstruck. Which brings us to the actual final boss, which we're going to be doing with Sword.
You tricked me! Both of you!
Didn't plan any of it.
Silence!
So here's what I theorize to be a brief vision of what their world looks like. Also, I like to think that this is closer to an actual form for their vampires.
Do you think that will stop me? Prepare to die, Witcher!
Love that transition. Now I want to pause real quick, because that's an awesome boss fight that honestly probably deserves a plus by itself. But I also want to mention that Geralt just defeated a higher vampire. Didn't kill it, but was capable of defeating it. And that is damned impressive in my book. And it's probably the only reason I think, personally, that CD Projekt Red wanted to emphasize how stupidly powerful the higher vampires were. So you would feel awesome for beating one. Now, whether that's valid or not, that's up to you, but that's my take on that. We're doing all three endings, Mazanaka. This is our second turn through.
Leave him to me. Be gone.
I can't let...
I insist.
No, I'm sorry. This is actually a pretty powerful scene. But it bothers me for two reasons. So let's talk about the powerful part first. He's emphasized over and over how much he cares. You know, the blood bond and blah, 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 blah. You humans cannot possibly understand how much I care about him. But at the same time, and as I said earlier, they do a good job of showcasing this. He has been making excuses for Dettlaff literally until the very end. As was pointed out earlier, even in that fight, when he was fighting Dettlaff, he was still making excuses for him and still trying to reach out to him. It is not until here when he finally accepts, okay, no, this is a rabid dog situation. He needs to be put down. So it's very insightful into Regis's character, and I love the way it's presented. I also love the fact that he takes ownership of this. Very Regis, in my opinion. Yeah, exactly. He could have just taken Dettlaff away in his weakened state. He could have let Geralt just beat on him. There's a lot of things he could do here. Two things bother me about this. First of all, the speed with which Dettlaff regenerates is, in my opinion, a bit too much. Again, they're a little inconsistent about that, but I prefer the idea of... The second two, Django. I prefer the idea of another higher vampire has to help them regenerate, which is something they actually mentioned earlier in the game, rather than they just regenerate innately. And I also like the idea that they regenerate, but extremely slowly. Both of those ideas are tossed out the window by how relatively quickly Dettlaff is able to regenerate himself right here. Second thing I don't like about this scene will come up in just a second, but put simply, we'll get there in a second. So, that's probably closer to what a vampire's more natural form looks like, right? So he drinks of him, which we've actually already talked about this, and he turns into a human. Why does Dettlaff turn into a human after dying? That makes the opposite of sense. I've never been able to figure that one out.
My, what a smashing ensemble.
You wear it well.
Shut up. I look like a twit.
The caftan is sewn of the best fabrics available, and according to the best tailoring practices.
And yeah, even in the trailer, it's the other way around.
A modicum of taste to appreciate this. Even the most exquisite robes cover only deficiencies in beauty, never in refinement.
I suppose that's true, Kay, but that brings me to my second question. Why does he revert to human, then, when he's no longer maintaining a form? Because a human form is definitely a form they have to maintain. That is definitive. So why does he revert to human? If anything, I would assume he would revert to nothing. Like he would literally gelatinize and turn into a pile of goop. Because they're mentioned to be basically formless creatures. Or not literally formless, but leaning that way. You know, shapeshifters, right? So why didn't he just stop maintaining shape? Or maybe if you want to keep the whole Nosferatu thing, have him just dissolve into the blood mist, right? But no, he turns into a human. God, that just bugs the crap out of me. I'm not going to give a negative for it, but it makes no sense. It's like we defeat Palpatine, and all of a sudden he turns into Darth Maul. Like, there's no connecting point there.
Usually wear something different, better suited to my trade. Got nothing against this particular outfit, though. Just don't exactly feel comfortable in it. And I despise formal occasions.
Nothing one can't get accustomed to. Now, be so kind as to stand still. All that being as it may, Toussaint's highest honor, the Order of Vitis Vinifera, demands appropriate attire. The Duchess cannot be expected to drape the medal on a suit of armor caked in mud. Palace protocol places enormous emphasis on form, virtuous tradition, etiquette.
Huh. A tradition which values appearances ahead of all else. Which calls for lordly, glistening triviality and misplaced generosity.
I mean, he's not wrong. I think Eric's explanation is probably the most accurate, which just makes it even worse to me if I'm being just blunt. But, whatever.
Sound wistful. Pensive, Regis. That because they refuse to buy you a new outfit?
Hardly. It's the tone I ever adopt when I find myself pondering, which, believe it or not, happens quite a lot. Besides, I've no need for a new outfit as I shall not be attending the ceremony.
Why not?
Because unlike you, I don't have to. I shall begin to pack my belongings instead. I trust you'll join me later, once you're richer by a medal and a fascinating new experience?
Count on it.
Thank you very much, Twisted Sister. Ever and always appreciate those subs, thank you. Do you happen to know what you'd like to put that towards for showing interest in a future stream?
Ceremonies, medals honoring virtues, just keeps coming up.
I've had no reprieve either. And I keep thinking of the last great virtue, compassion. It's the one piece of the puzzle that never seemed to fit.
Mean you suddenly believe the 5 virtues theory, after all we've revealed?
It's not a question of belief, superstition, or old wives' tales. It's a conclusion derived through exercising pure logic. Siana planned everything in advance. Had we not stopped her, surely there'd have been a 5th victim. One the gossips would have associated with a lack of compassion.
Her plans don't matter now. Can't act on them. Ask the messenger who delivered my invitation to the ceremony. Siana's in the palace. Courtiers pressured the Duchess to lock her in a tower.
Do you care not a whit who else was in her black book? We've some time before the ceremony. We could still chat with that boot-cleaning urchin. He was the one to pass the victims' names to Dettlaff. Perhaps we missed something.
Regis, Bootblack didn't say anything about making deliveries when we talked to him. How do you know he handled the letters?
While you basked in glory and tried on new formal wear, I conducted a little investigation of my own. You'd be very proud to see how I conducted myself. I began by concocting an ample supply of boot wash for our enterprising young friend. I'd observed that among street folk, amidst their society as a whole, reciprocity takes precedence over all other codes, and thus no good deed goes unrewarded. Of course, the same holds true for malicious or destructive deeds.
The letters, what's the connection?
When the bootblack arrived to collect his bucketful, he hinted he knew more. Simply put, we'd failed to ask the proper questions when we chatted earlier. It took a bit more tongue-loosening, but ultimately he spoke. He admitted he'd handed Dettlaff the letters. He knew this information was valuable to me. In providing it, he was simply repaying me.
So I'm going to select the let's meet there option.
Could be worth checking with the bootblack again. Meet you by a stand.
Fine. I shall await you there. Shoot the breeze with the charming lad to pass the time.
The bootblack? In the lower city? Intend to soil my masterpiece in the city's gutters?
Promise to be careful.
So I find it funny, by the way, that Saldir, Mihok, and Lycon all said similar ideas within a very short period of time next to each other. Don't mistake me, we could headcanon this away. I just, as I've said many times, no effort is made to explain this in character. Although if you forced me to come up with a headcanon, I'd have to think about it, because to be perfectly blunt, I haven't. Because it's such a clear, done for no good reason kind of a situation. Anyways, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to set up a manual save here. We're actually going to be setting up several manual saves in Concession, because for those of you who don't remember, the last time we did this, I was actually trying for the so-called good ending, aka the worst ending. And while I was doing so, I failed on some point, and I'm not sure where. And I had a save before the conversation in the tower, and I had a save back in the Fantasyland, and neither led me to her being spared. So I never actually figured out what was going on there. So that's why we're just going to be setting up a whole bunch of saves, and hopefully this time we'll actually muddle through it. Now, Mazanaka said something that's incredibly valid, and I want to address it. Mazanaka points out that Geralt isn't that good in the books. He is far stronger in the games. We've talked several times about all of the variances between the games and the books, but I think that's probably the most important one for me. Yeah, there's little bits of continuity or setting building or world building. God, he looks so stupid. That work differently based on the games or based on the books. But honestly, I think the capacity of Geralt himself is the greatest and most powerful variance between the two. Geralt in the games is a PC. He's kind of a mid-tier PC, but he is still a PC. In the books, he's nowhere near that. And that's made clear by how much he interacts with at what levels across the games. I mean, We rub elbows with Foltest Henselt, or whatever this idiot face, and then Radovid and Emir. Ciri is kind of an obvious one, so I'll just kind of let that one pass, along with Yennefer and Triss and Philippa, as well as Croc on Krite, and Anna Henrietta. All of that within the scope of this one game. Now, I point that out because that's basically us hobnobbing with the upper echelons of society for this entire region. Oh yeah, Fringilla as well, excuse me. That is some of the most powerful politically and personally people around here that we all end up interacting with, and in some cases killing. I mean, enough said. So, quick save. Now, I believe this is going to be a complete repeat cutscene, so we're just going to skip right through this one.
Swordsman. Need to ask you.
Yet again? Go on then.
Yep. Okay. So yeah, we're just gonna skip right through this one.
Well.
If you have.
That's true, Hazardous. We do get the super mutations in this expansion. In lore.
Kid. Remember.
Geralt, but you.
Well.
Where's.
Thanks. We must visit the shelter. Look around inside.
No two ways about it.
You've to move your little camp elsewhere.
So then we're gonna help this guy.
You to heat and eat.
The
damn.
We should.
Optional, but pushed into your way, Django. Which I only point out because, in my opinion, when judging the validity of something happening in lore when it's optional, in my opinion, the way it's presented in the story is significant. Let me give you an example. In Final Fantasy VII, you can go way out of your way to get the Master Materia, right? But you have to go way out of your way to get the Master Materia. So, generally, when considering in lore, I generally don't think that Cloud and crew actually got the Master Materia in FF7. By contrast, getting the huge materia, which we end up setting up at Bugenhagen's, as well as getting the Bahamut, I think, 0 materia from that, that's part of the main story arc, even though it's still kind of an optional thing to do, and we can fail just about all of those. It's still shoved right into your way and is much harder to fail. Thus, even though it is technically optional, it is something that is far more in your path. Does that make any sense? This becomes necessary for judging canon or what is considered in lore when it comes to video games, because so many things, it's like, I mean, so many things are optional. So many things are things that the players can do. I mean, we don't usually think of Mario actually defeating all 8 worlds in 13 minutes, do we?
Need some information. Looking for a man who might have mentioned the Boot Black in Rue de Garl.
The Boot Black?
Same game as the last 2 weeks, comma. Hopefully the last day of it, period. This is our 15th day of streaming this, actually, exclamation mark.
Forgive me. Those I help and I are not so close that I would know. But should you wait, you could...
Because I'm too stupid, crit source.
My dears.
I also have no degree in such a matter.
But you... Oh...
Damn it. Let's see.
Well,
Judging by...
yet first...
Duchess was to be Dettlaff's last victim. 4 seemingly ran...
So, we're gonna skip through this. Alright, so I think we're now on the new stuff, because now we're going to go talk to Siana. And hopefully not screw it up. Actually, I suppose we should deliberately screw it up, shouldn't we?
Actually, love to learn her motives.
Praiseworthy, I suppose. Sometimes one should stare evil in the face.
Seems a bit strong, no?
She used my friend as her tool for killing. I believe I've every right to condemn her. But I support your lust for the truth. Some philosophers think empirical examination the sole path to knowledge. I believe you mentioned the Duchess keeps Siana locked up.
Courtiers were insisting on a harsher punishment. Much harsher. Think Anna Henrietta had to protect her sister from a lynch mob as much as she wanted to protect her subjects from a criminal. One way or another, she's locked away in a secluded wing of the palace, awaiting trial before a court of law. I'd need to get past some guards to see her. So, meet up once it's over? Assuming you'd rather not see Siana again.
You assume correctly. I shall await you at Mère la Chaise Longue, with a hot mug of mandrake brew to keep me company.
Our blood's worth less than...
Sure, go ahead, Mazanaka. So, manual save. Hate this outfit. Okay. I can think of one worse outfit than this. The one Ciri was forced to wear. In that picture at Amir's, in Amir's room. Okay.
Halt! Need to see Sia.
Hang on, hang on.
Urgently.
In the matter of?
Lol, Mazanaka. Really, Kay? Then I must. Do you mind explaining? I mean, I think I get it. No, I'm gonna not be nice, Hazardous. Or is that how you fail?
New facts have come to light. Need them explained. Seems she was planning your Duchess's assassination.
Ah, fine then. You're that witcher who solved the murders, no? Then you've my permission, but only for a few minutes.
Promise to be brief.
I mean, I'm with you on Star Trek 6. Holy hell. I could destroy Star Trek 6 right now, and I've seen that movie many times.
You can take a momentary break.
As long as it's truly but a moment. Highly irregular, this.
Hey, Twit.
Have you come to see how I fare? I'm fine, thank you. Artorias' ribbon worked wonders. It's a shame they took it from me.
I know who the fifth victim was supposed to be.
Goodness, you're simply a compulsive snoop. I'm in prison. Dettlaff is dead.
I'm sorry. This is even more powerful compared to what we just did in the bad ending. Because in the bad ending, we spent quite a while in prison. Remember, I pointed out, they actually had they spent some time emphasizing the mundanity and horribleness of it. The wrongness of it. And then look at this sweeping shot of this palatial dwelling. This room is bigger than my entire apartment.
Just drop it.
Siana, stop pretending you couldn't care less. I know it's an act, and it's really starting to wear. Why do you want to kill her?
For such an accomplished investigator to ask about the obvious? Come now, Geralt. Why do you think?
How should I know? Might really be the curse of the Black Sun. Word is, cursed princesses often kill their own families.
I see I misjudged you. You understand nothing. Well, what now? Off to share your discovery with Anna Henrietta? Oh, she's no longer in danger, true. But you very well might add a little something to your reward.
Definitely gonna tell her. Not necessarily for the coin, though.
Then why do it at all?
She ought to know. If only 'cause you'll probably try to kill her again if she ever lets you out.
I probably will.
At least you're being honest, finally.
Lying only ever makes sense when there's a chance someone will believe you. It's actually refreshing, in a way, to say what I truly think. So why don't I do it a bit more? I was only ever nice to you to get you to sleep with me. I thought you might come in handy one day. Your comrade Regis is using you, and Anna Henrietta perceives you solely as her unthinking, blunt instrument. She's right to, you know.
What's funny is I don't believe a single one of those. I mean, granted, she might actually think that, but at the same time...
I like this game. Long as we're being honest, here I go. You're a pathetic, self-centered snake. Should I go on? You'll rot in this tower. You'll die of old age, embittered, alone and forgotten. By everyone. Have a nice life, Siana.
I agree, Chemic. I think that's just lashing out, in the most traditional sense of the word. And you can kind of tell because we really got to her there. Now, in the interest of fairness, what we just said to her was actually pretty stupid. But I'll talk about why in a minute.
Let's go. Want to see him too.
Basically, there's an old concept. The less someone has to lose, the worse they will be. Because they will be willing to do things that no sane person would want to do. Because none of the things that prevent them from doing that thing are in place. So if we really do push her as far down as we can, then we have just made her more dangerous.
Damien.
Geralt, it's about time. Ready for the ceremony?
Your face doesn't look good. What the hell happened?
The city was attacked. Surely you don't imagine I could stand and watch it all from some ivory tower.
Got some important information. Anna Henrietta was supposed to be Dettlaff and Siana's 5th victim.
You are certain of this?
Completely. Found proof.
Inconceivable. How could she? The murders, the mayhem she brought down on the city, were they not enough?
And I hate to point this out, but you notice he just believes us. Just like that. This is more in keeping with the character arc Damien has been having. Character arc's the wrong word, but the relationship arc between Damien and Geralt we've been having throughout the course of the expansion. And as someone pointed out earlier, in this circumstance he fully trusts and believes in our competency. Thus he believes us instantly and without question.
She sought to strike down her own sister, her liege. Traitor. I must alert my men. Enlarge the Duchess's honor guard. Make certain Sylvia Anna is closely watched during the questioning. I'll see to it personally. I thank you, Witcher, for alerting me, and I appreciate your attentiveness. Let's begin the ceremony. Come with me. The Duchess awaits. In the guild's name, I beg your assistance, your enlightened highness. Without barrels, production will come to a stop, and it will be the end of us.
I'm sorry. Thank you very much, Arathrabo. As always, appreciate the sub. Thank you. If you know where you want to put that sub for interest, just let me know.
You lost them all in the fire. These are horrible tidings. Oh, we are most dreadfully saddened.
Yes, your enlightened highness all. Once the beasts had clawed their way into the warehouse, the whole place went up in flames.
I shall dispatch a palace guardsman to examine the site of the blaze. If things are, as you say, fitting compensation shall be paid from the ducal treasury.
Thank you, your enlightened highness. Your Grace, Geralt of Rivia has arrived.
My dear subjects, we come now to our next point of business. Of all the duties which fall upon my shoulders, as the ruler of this dominion, this duty is dearest to my heart. For now,
We shall award the Order of Vitis Vinifera, Tucson's highest honor.
Geralt of Rivia, Slayer of the Beast of Boclair, step forth.
We bestow the distinction upon the Witcher, who saved Boclair from the terrible beast. Such is our desire. May the symbol serve as a reminder to all that the Witcher shall forever remain a friend of Boclair. In more familiar terms now, I thank you immensely, Geralt. Damien has your reward for you. After all, it was but a contract.
Thank you.
I have a small surprise for you, in addition. I give you more than a dozen barrels of Son Real, a wine normally reserved for the ducal table. The gustatory experience of a lifetime awaits. Are you content?
So noted, Rothrabo, and thank you. I'm debating what I should pick here, considering the ending we're going for. I feel like warning her is going to be better in this case, given what's about to happen.
I am, and truly grateful, Your Grace. Sadly, I'm afraid I have to sour the mood. It's Siana. She plotted to have you killed, Duchess. Planned to use Dettlaff. You were to be the beast's 5th victim.
This cannot be true. You're mistaken. You must be.
I have proof.
I do not believe it. In a moment I shall speak to Siana. Will you assist me?
Sure.
You returned my sister to me, yet what you tell me now I find devastating. I've come to doubt that I can judge her fairly.
Really?
I'd far prefer to learn you're mistaken, Geralt.
I'm not. In fact, I'd recommend you be particularly careful around her.
You exaggerate, Witcher. She is my sister. I know well how to speak to her.
If my presence will help in any manner, of course I'll stay.
I agree with you, by the way, Kay.
Question a person implicated in the murders.
Implicated.
Which ravaged our fair city of Boclair. Captain de la Tour, show Sylvia Anna in.
But yeah, her blind spot is ridiculous here. But like I said, I agree with Kay. I think she believes it. She just can't process it. She can't handle it. In her heart of hearts, she has basically acknowledged it.
The Witcher will take part in our talk.
The Duchess requested I be present.
You have committed crimes. Grave crimes. Yet you are my sister, and my heart does not allow me to treat you as a common criminal. Nor does it let me believe you sought my demise. My heart yearns to know you were swayed by the monster Dettlaff. You yourself would never stoop so low. Thus I have asked Geralt to advise me, as one impartial. I shall now hear what he has to say.
Does it matter what I pick here? Hey, Baron. Like, this is gonna be funny, because I'm gonna have to know what I have to pick the next time around, too.
No matter the mitigating circumstances, whatever they may be, Siana is a criminal and should be tried as such. And punished as such. Her guilt is clear.
Your words sadden me greatly, Witcher. But I cannot deny their logic. Siana, you shall be tried and given a fitting punishment. Yet we shall never cease to be family. As Duchess, I shall have to judge you. But as your sister, I shall never stop loving you.
This
Will you forgive me?
is so stupid what she does here. This is astonishingly stupid. And she pays for it.
I shall never forgive you.
Nice shot. Have I mentioned the camera work in this game? Yeah, this is the ending I got to. I would argue this is basically the better ending. At least narratively speaking. Oh, it hasn't? This ending fits in neatly and cleanly with basically everything that's happened, and is a fitting denouement to the events. Yeah, it's the most logical ending, I agree.
Need some flowers. A wreath, or...
I've none. Sold everything. I was just on my way out. No sense hanging about with nothing to do. Should come as no shock, sir. Had the funeral, folk took it all. Men, women, children, all wished to lay a bouquet on the Duchess's grave. Windflowers, peonies, gladioli. But she liked common roses best. I know, her ladies-in-waiting would come here at times. I'd choose the loveliest blooms for her. Fragrant, big petals, the kind that last a long time. I've still not come to terms with it. To be killed by her own sister. How could it happen?
Yeah, I like the atmosphere here, too. And, yeah, everyone is just in mourning. Django and many other people have all brought up a valid point here, too. Who the hell takes over Toussaint now? I mean, Toussaint, yeah, they filter changes, too. Toussaint is still a vassal state of the Nilfgaardians, but who actually is in charge? Because there was no line of succession. That's actually one of the issues. Let me be more clear. No direct line of succession. In normal situations, this would be a power struggle. Classic power struggle. Typical civil war. But obviously, since, to my knowledge, they'll never even continue this story, they'll probably never actually, we'd never find out who would have ended up taking over.
Anna Henrietta wanted to believe there was still hope for Siana, that she'd show remorse. She reached a hand out to her. Too soon. Too trusting.
I know you. You're that witcher from the north. The one that saved us from the beast.
Mm-hmm. Could say that.
Wait here. Take these.
Thought you were out of flowers.
I put a bouquet aside. I was to take it to her myself. But you have it. I know you held the Duchess dear.
How much do I owe you?
Not a copper. Keep your coin and raise a toast in her memory tonight.
Do just that. Farewell.
For the record, I agree with several of you. The most likely outcome... God, they've already made a statue for... The most likely outcome is this would be reorganized into a province rather than a vassal state. Exactly, Django. That being said, I'm going to say something that I imagine all of you are going to disagree with. I think Dandelion would actually make a good duke for Toussaint. Now, the Dandelion at the end of Witcher 3.
A Witcher? Witcher, I was certain you'd departed.
Couldn't. Anna Henrietta was...
Wondrous. Beautiful. Good. The best ruler one could hope to have. Yet I let her down.
Exactly, King Hotch. Excuse me. Seriously, though, I really do think Dandelion would be able to manage this kind of a job pretty well. I don't think he'd be a good ruler, nor do I think he'd be a good leader. But I didn't say either of those things. I said he'd be a good duke. Basically, Henrietta was not a good ruler or leader anyways. But she was a good duchess. Because she was the kind of duchess they needed for something like Toussaint. In short, I don't think Dandelion would actually be in charge of Toussaint any more than the Duchess was actually in charge of Toussaint. And that's kind of my point. If they have a good... Yeah, he would be an excellent face, Hazardous. He would know how to play the part. He already knows how to play the part. He would be able to be a good image and a good front man for Toussaint, in my opinion. And whoever is already running the country under Henrietta would continue to run the country under Dandelion. And I have to admit, I kind of like the idea... No, I have not, Izumi Luna, sorry. I kind of like the idea of Dandelion and Priscilla basically settling down in Toussaint and you know, becoming the Duke and the Duchess and having kids and just having a nice retirement, basically, you know. With his buddy Geralt having the vineyard down the way there.
Don't be so hard on yourself. No one expected Siana to do that, persist to the end. And none of us did anything to stop her. 'Cause there was nothing we could do.
I suppose you are right. But when someone so beloved dies, one cannot help but search one's soul for blame. And even the hardiest knights grow faint-hearted then.
Come to pay my respects. Bid the Duchess farewell.
White roses. They were her favorite. Go inside then. She lies in the ducal crypt. In one room with her murderer, despite my protests.
What? Who decided that?
The Regent's Council. A pack of old men who've statutes and codices for hearts. Ducal blood flowed in Siana's veins, and she was never legally disinherited. So they ruled she should lie alongside Henrietta.
I guess that's our answer. The Regent's Council is in charge now, whoever the hell they are in context. I like how no one has done anything at all to Siana's grave. You notice that? Look at that. Look at Anna's grave. Look at Siana's grave.
And all this, what did it bring you? Rest in peace.
I mean, historically speaking, a king who is actually a king or a prince or a baron of multiple titles at the same time is pretty normal. So,
I regret it ended this way, that I failed to prevent it. Hope you can forgive me. Rest in peace.
Stylish crypt, quite subdued. Yes, this is the kind of eternal resting place I dream of.
Moments like this, I never know if you're joking or serious.
Serious, Geralt, serious. It's remarkably peaceful, subtly charming to the hilt. A perfect match for the Duchess's dignity.
And if I can add to his statement, this place cost a fortune and is basically a waste. And yet at the same time makes the people feel a lot better. And that sounds a lot like Henrietta, doesn't it?
Humans, you'll never cease to amaze me. To feel despair in the face of natural processes to which you are predestined. I've come to take you from this place, my friend. Dare say you deserve a speck of respite after the mad whirl of the last few days.
I stand by my statement, Django. And Kemek. I suppose it's a matter of opinion, Consulat.
Deaths I failed to prevent. Feel pretty awful right about now. Can't help thinking I could have done more. Now Toussaint's left without a ruler, or more accurately, chaos rules here. Hand in hand with despair. Duchess won over people's hearts. All Boclair now weeps for her.
A mass outburst of emotion. Well, it seems her subjects have adopted some of their recent ruler's traits.
Why the sarcasm? Thought you liked Donna Henrietta.
I did. And I do truly rue her passing.
Me too.
Then let us drink.
Whatever you say about Siana, you gotta admit, she was unbending.
That she was. I do admit it. Though, in her case, it would have been better if she had been a tad more, philosophical, pausing from time to time to reflect on the propriety of her actions.
True.
How do you find my personal brew? Not too strong?
Just right.
Credit the local mandrake of
Okay. So we're going to skip through the rest of the last of this.
If you
because that is something we're going to save for the actual good ending. So I try to figure out which save I want. I believe it's this save. It's time to kill Sylvia Anna. Mwahaha. Also, that's a good question, Saldir, but I can't answer it because it's not Halloween. Seriously, though, I imagine the legality of it is at least part of that. Did you know it's actually law that you have to have a funeral which meets certain requirements here in the States? I found that out at a young age. Kind of irritated me. So let's try to get the best ending. So I'll take some advice on dialogue options here, because, I mean, I've already screwed this up unintentionally once. Blah, 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 blah. Blah, 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 blah. Save. Good night, Mazanaka. Have a good one.
The Witcher will speak with the...
Look at that bed.
You can take a momentary break.
As long as it's truly but a moment. Highly irregular, this.
Have you come to see how I fare? I'm fine, thank you. Artorius' ribbon worked wonders. It's a shame they took it from me.
I know who the 5th victim was supposed to be.
Goodness, you're simply a compulsive snoop. I'm in prison. Dettlaff is dead. Could you not just drop it?
Siana, stop pretending you couldn't care less. I know it's an act, and it's really starting to wear. Why do you want to kill her?
For such an accomplished investigator to ask about the obvious? Come now, Geralt. Why do you think?
3? That's my thought.
Because she turned her back on you, then banished all memory of you?
Bravo, Geralt. Yet another riddle solved, and your sick curiosity sated. Well, what now? Off to share your discovery with Anna Henrietta? No, she's no longer in danger, true. But she very well might add a little something to your reward.
Definitely gonna tell her. Not necessarily for the coin, though.
Then why do it at all?
She ought to know. If only 'cause you'll probably try to kill her again if she ever lets you out.
I probably will.
Okay. 2, I'm thinking. Wonderful view out that window, by the way.
Perhaps, just for a second, you could stop dwelling on all the wrongs folk have done you and forgive her.
Why should I?
For old time's sake. You loved each other once.
Please. I don't know who fed you that rubbish, but...
Read your governess's diary. You played together, were inseparable. Henriette'd get you into trouble sometimes, sure. But there were also times she stood up for you. When you had nightmares, only she could calm you. Time eats away at memories, distorts them. Sometimes we only remember the good. Sometimes only the bad.
If she loved me so, why did she wash her hands off me? Forget me. Hmm?
I mean, I would say option 2 here, but I will once again ask for advice. One of the things I like about the palace at Toussaint, the Elvish Palace, is that it reminds me in many ways of Toussaint in general. Pretty, beautiful, enjoyable, incredibly weak. Like, totally reliant upon external forces to maintain it.
Siana, you were exiled when she was how old? 12? 13? She was a child. What was she supposed to do? Rebel? Organize a coup? Steal your father's seal and forge a pardon? She was powerless. Wiped you from her memory not because she didn't care, but because your departure was traumatic for her. She forgot because that was the only way she could handle the pain.
Ugh. You really want a happy ending, don't you? With all of us living happily ever after. Go, Witcher, or they'll give your medal to another, and that would be a shame.
Farewell, Siana.
Yeah, that was totally for the players. Oh, trust me, Crit Source, I know exactly how pathetic, insignificant, powerless, poor, ugly, stupid, fat that I am. I'm reminded of it every day. So let's see how this upcoming cutscene plays out, because believe it or not, I've actually never seen this proper. I mean, I've seen it in a YouTube, but that's it.
Let's go. Want to see him too.
I still need to warn her, right? Like, I need to warn him, then I need to warn her, and then I need to be merciful, I think?
Damien.
Geralt, it's about time. Ready for the ceremony?
Ah, what's wrong with your face? I feel like I've asked this 3 times before. Okay, so let's warn him. Blah, 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 blah.
I thank you, Witcher, for alerting me, and I appreciate your attentiveness. Let's begin the ceremony. Come with me. The Duchess awaits.
It's okay, the roses are red now. So we're going to kind of sidle through this cutscene really quick.
I shall just...
Thank you, Your Grace.
My dear subject, for immortal.
You know what, let's just get up to the dialogue choice. There we go. So we're going to warn her. Yeah.
I am, and truly grateful, Your Grace.
So, this is the same thing.
I do...
I'm not. In fact, I'd recommend you be particularly careful around her.
You exaggerate, Witcher. She is my sister. I know well how to speak to her.
If my presence will help in any manner, of course I'll stay.
We shall now question a person implicated in the murders which recently ravaged our fair city of Boclair. Captain de la Tour, show Sylvia Anna in.
Off with our head. Nice touch. I'll call back. I meant to mention this last time, though, but you notice she's wringing her hands again, which she only does when she's actually losing control of herself. It's the only way she allows herself to vent physically.
The Witcher will take part in our talk.
The Duchess requested I be present.
You have committed crimes. Grave crimes. Yet you are my sister, and my heart does not allow me to treat you as a common criminal. Nor does it let me believe you sought my demise. My heart yearns to know you were swayed by the monster Dettlaff. You yourself would never stoop so low. Thus I have asked Geralt to advise me, as one impartial. I shall now hear what he has to say.
I'm sorry for commenting on the Emir thing, but I'm pretty sure this wouldn't even be... this would be one of the files on Emir's desk. He wouldn't even attend anything in person. And one of those random things he managed to pick, to sign his name to, was him judging her fate. I noticed, actually, that these are completely different options than I had last time.
Bitterness consumes Siana. She had cause to resent many of the court of Boclair. I know her reasons, understand them even. But I can't condone the actions she chose to take.
What is he talking about, Siana?
You know exactly what. I was forcibly exiled, remember? To your benefit. You knew well the throne would then be yours, though I was the elder. The ministers I can understand. They'd hated me since I was a child, thought me a poor prospect for the wife of a duke. I even understand our parents. I'd always sensed the problem. They simply feared me, for I dared to be free. That fabricated curse, it fell into their laps. A gift from above that brought relief. But you... Your dagger hurt most. You were my Henrietta, dammit. My darling little sister. Now do you understand, Witcher? She betrayed me.
Should I bother with option 2? Or is that going to be pushing her away? I like that shot too, okay. You're an evil murderous stab is my knee-jerk reaction here, but...
Claim to understand them all? Why'd you come back for revenge? Have them all cut down then?
They deserved my vengeance. They detested me, all of them, as long as I can remember. But Henrietta understood me. Once. She was all I could cling to. Her betrayal hurt the most.
I mean, I hate to point this out, but she is admitting in front of a large group of people, including the lady-in-waiting, the Duchess, the head of the guard, and an impartial observer, that'd be us, that she actually was behind all those murders. Like, she's just flat out admitting that.
You were children then. You and your sister both had no control over what happened.
You're wrong, Witcher. She had control. Remember, dear sister, the day they banished me from the palace? Of course, I'd had the idea to pelt the Nilfgaardian envoy with fish bladders, which we filled with rancid suet on a lark, and which you set afire at the last to impress me, I imagine. And I admit, you did. Hit him right in his hideous bald patch. Never laughed so hard in my life. But when it came time to find the culprit, you said not a word. I took all the blame and all the punishment.
It's true. I did not stand up for you. I was too afraid.
No, Consul Hot.
The council was unanimous. They listed all my offenses. My flights from the palace, supposed acts of cruelty, inappropriate friendships. They cast me out, but you, the only one to understand me, you cowered in a corner, lifted not a finger to help. Not before, not after. You never tried to find me.
That's not true. I searched for you. Sent out knights, gathered tidings from without. You did not wish to be found. Since the day you vanished, I have lived with the knowledge that I failed you. I'm sorry, dear sister. Can you forgive me?
And then stab! I do credit the animation. You could tell how this is much more of a shock to Siana than anyone else. Whereas in the previous time, she was like, oh yeah, I totally embrace her, because she had already committed to the idea of going ahead and stabbing her. It's almost like the animation in this game is phenomenal! So there you go, guys. Happy ending.
All in all, best part of the whole ceremony? It was short.
Perhaps for you, as you ducked out early. The others are probably just getting started. The drunkenness never ends in this quaint realm.
Oh yeah, shooting star, by the way.
Fond of Toussaint after all, are we?
Oh, this place is like a strong wine, Geralt. Good in small sips. How do you find my personal brew? Not too strong?
Just right.
Credit the local mandrake of the Alrauna diavolis variety for that. The tubers which grow in this area's volcanic soil have an altogether unique flavor profile and display a remarkably uncommon dark brown tint.
Fascinating. All I can say is this batch turned out excellent.
Indeed. It might be wise to stockpile some roots for the future. Would you care to accompany me?
You decide to go root picking now? It's dark out.
Geralt. Even were I generously to assume it had simply slipped your mind that I am a vampire and thus need no light to see, I'd never believe you had also forgotten that you likewise have absolutely no trouble seeing in the dark. So, shall we?
That right there is a nice way to describe Regis, by the way. He could have just said, please, or really? But no, he had to really go through exactly why that statement was ridiculous. I just want to point out something, by the way. Another, and I suppose I'd say this will be the final reason why I consider this not to be the best ending. It's the shortest. In the worst ending, we had the entire prison sequence, and then the investigation, And then the wonderful crypt scene with Dandelion and with Henrietta. In the, what I consider to be the most appropriate ending, we had most of the same general steps, but also the little thing with the funeral. Getting the flower from the woman, taking it down to the crypt, those extra cutscenes, being able to lay a flower on both graves, all that stuff. Here, it's, I forgive you, cut straight to the end. Like, that was the ending. We are now in the epilogue as of this point. So, Baron says short in a bad way. I would say, yeah, honestly. It feels cut off, as weird as that sounds. And that's true. There is going to be the final epilogue. The post-credits equivalent of this game, which we will be doing, don't worry.
If you think it's a good idea, let's go. But I think you might be forgetting one thing. Fresh mandrake root of this variety is highly toxic, even to a witcher.
Ah, not a problem. I never forget matters of safety and hygiene in alchemy. Here, gloves and a mask. Don them, and you shall be in no danger.
Thanks. Right then, let's go.
So this brings me to a question, guys. As horrible as this probably sounds, do you think the endings deserve a negative?
Let me guess. Succubus twins?
No, I was thinking about, how anything can look interesting when properly lit.
Even an old necrophage corpse?
You've not an ounce of refinement in you, have you?
By the way, thank you, Hazardous, for your kind thoughts. I did read that. And I'm sorry for exhausting you for the last 15 days, but I'm glad you've enjoyed. So let me explain this. Obviously, there have been worse endings. Duh. But I feel these endings are, how do I phrase this? Weirdly decided. Imagine, give me a second to try and build this analogy. Imagine you're at a buffet, okay? And there's like 15 different food items. And you think, oh, awesome. I can select of these 15 different items. That's probably like 7 different items, exactly what I want to eat. But instead, you can't. You have to take this group of 3, this group of 4, okay, that's this group of 2, this group of 2, or this group of 3. And they decide which things get grouped with what. You don't. And some of the pieces, the food dishes they group together, don't seem like they really make sense. And in many cases, I'm looking at this like, well, why can't I have this and that instead of these random 3 things? It feels like, in my opinion, it feels like what they did was they had the original intent to have the 7 or so items, and based on your actions, that determines it. And for whatever reason, probably time and budget, they just kind of decided to chunk them up. And so instead, we have 3 endings instead of what... Because to try and... I feel like I'm explaining myself badly. It feels like there shouldn't have been multiple endings. It feels like there should have been an ending with multiple variables. Does that make sense? It feels like there should have been quite a few different variables in how the ending proceeded. And instead we have 3 distinct endings, which kind of chop off from each other in branches. So, I feel like it has several of the similar problems to most of the other parts of the end of the game when it comes to Blood and Wine. It feels kind of rushed, you know. It feels like they were just like, okay, we're done. You know, there are very few elements of this finale that don't feel rushed to me. In fact, actually, I can only think of one off the top of my head, the fight with Dettlaff. In fact, if I'm being completely blunt, in terms of overall directing style, camera usage, music usage, gameplay relevance, as weird as this may sound, I would say the bad ending is the best constructed of them. Not it's the best ending, but it's the one that feels like it had the most work put into it. Like the whole prison sequence and the interactions and the side quests you could do there, and the absence of music and the mundanity of the presentation, and it lasting just long enough to start to get on your nerves when Dandelion shows up, and the Dandelion scene, and the scene at the crypt where you go in there and Henrietta can barely do it. All of that felt very well done. In terms of purely objective perspective, I would say that's actually the best ending. Not that I prefer it the most, but it's the most well done. What would I add to this one? Oh, jeez. I don't know, to be completely honest, because I haven't put thought into it. I usually don't write endings like this. I usually write endings like the middle one we saw, where the two kill each other. Well, that's not fair. It's more like one of them killed the other, and then the other was killed by the guard. Good ending, bad ending, happy ending. I kind of like that. Flower wedding, unicorns. Off the top of my head, and again, I haven't prepped this at all, Django, but off the top of my head, my first and most obvious thought is, do you remember the end of Dragon Age Origins? Where there's a big scene in a big hallway area, right? It's like the rulership area or whatever. And there's a bunch of people to talk to there, and it shows a lot of the consequences of how your game has been going up to that point. I'm thinking something kind of like that. You know, it basically shows some of the banquet that was referenced on camera. Have Geralt walking through it. And of course, you can just like in Dragon Age Origins, you can just leave. Completely optional. But you can go and talk to people and see what's going to be coming and find out, how things have turned out. Like maybe go and talk to Guillaume or whatever the hell his name is, assuming he lived, assuming you decided to go that route in the Curse quest, and see what's the consequence of that decision. Maybe talk to what's his face, the high treason wine guy, and he's like, oh, it's amazing, blah 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 blah. In short, add all of that in to kind of showcase something to add onto this. Because like I said, it just feels truncated. And of course, it shows a lot of the consequences of the choices we've made throughout the course of the game. Now, Henson mentioned Siana being there. I absolutely agree. Siana would have to be there. And we would have to have a conversation with her, and she would have to demonstrate that she is starting to acknowledge that her mindset and perspective has basically been wrong up till this point, for this particular ending. And Henrietta would have to be there. I'm trying to think who else. So we got Wine Guy, we've got Henrietta, we've got Siana, we've got Guillaume. Damien would have to be there. We could have the painting guy. There's a lot of playability and interactions we could put there that would enable us to have some kind of conclusion to all those things. Okay, fine. We visit her. Ooh, I've got it, Django. We could take some food up from the banquet to her. There you go. There's your connecting point to go from the banquet to her. And it's all optional. I want to stress this one more time, because Django pointed out, well, we left the thing early. Make that the player's choice. Make the player decide if they just want to get on to the scene with Regis, or if they want to see all these things and interact with all these characters and find out how their stories are concluding, then they can choose to do so. No, I haven't, Tigzor. I like that idea, Bregman. I also like the idea of any kind of character growth when it comes to Henrietta, So in short, I'm sorry, you only had 9 months, I get it. In short, I feel this is lacking. Now, whether it deserves a negative or not, I admit I'm kind of hesitant on that. What I would normally do is I just slot this in as an aggregate, because I do think this is deleterious to the story. I do. But I already have one story aggregate, and it's bursting at the seams. And I don't feel like starting another story aggregate now, putting 1 point in it, because that's not a full negative at that point. So I'm sitting here kind of not sure what to make of this. No, I know what I'm going to do. I know what I'm going to do. So I've actually already given a negative for the finale. I'm going to turn it into an aggregate and tack on the endings to it. So that's what we'll do. So the total number of negatives isn't changing. But I did want to acknowledge that because these endings do bother me. They actually detract from the story for me. And that's the definition of a story negative. I would say like a halfway, Savacom, to answer your question. Like, let me put it to you this way. Mass Effect 3's ending, the chasm, the gulf between what those endings should have been and what we got was gargantuan. Here it's more like this. Like, it's not... Let me put it to you this way. I would never call these endings good, with possibly the exception of the bad ending. That's the only one I would call actually good. The other two endings I feel are not good. Actually, let me rewind that for a second. So I would say the bad ending is the best one. The both they kill each other ending is acceptable. There's some decent stuff there. And that this ending is just bad. Just to put it as bluntly as I can. I feel like the happy ending is not well done at all. Not that I dislike a happy ending. Quite the contrary. I love a happy ending. In fact, we're about to get a happy ending for Geralt, which I love. It's just that I feel it was thrown together. And really, they didn't earn it at all. The only good thing I have to say about it at all is the animation with the hug thing, which I mentioned earlier, which was actually pretty well done. So anyways, sorry. Now that we've talked all that out, so none of these have changed. I need to actually look at my pluses and minuses really quick here. Make sure we don't have anything that needs codifying. I don't think we do. No, I don't have the mod. Sorry, Chemic. Looks like I don't. Okay, so we've got this and... Yeah, okay, so let's get back to the game now, finally. Put on a mask and gloves. Nah, I'm fine. It's optional. I'm invincible. Whatever. It's all good. That is a lot of toxicity. But I'm fine. See? I'm fine. No issues. Yes, Sile dear, it is. All you have to do is let him kill her, don't get the ribbon, and then kill him as the final boss. In all three paths, you have the option to fight Dettlaff. Where the heck? Oh, that's fair, Henson. I didn't even think about that. Yeah, no matter what, if you let Dettlaff kill Siana, you end up in prison. You could also do the middle ending, where you give her the ribbon, kill Dettlaff, and then she dies to Damien shooting her in reaction to her killing Henrietta. So that would also be both of them dies. I'm actually with you on that, Kay. One of my biggest complaints the last time I played through this was the fact that I didn't buy for a second that there was any actual remorse on the behalf of Siana. That's why I kept bringing up that redemption concept. 60 potatoes. I know exactly where I got those. I don't seem to have anything to reduce much of fig. Now, I know a lot of people disagree with me on that, and that's fine. You know, we're all going to disagree on that, and that's totally cool. But it was my impression, and I stand by that, having just played through all 3 endings, that she didn't actually have any real remorse. That she never actually wanted to... There was no regret there. Even in the happy ending. Even in the ending where we actually did manage to spare everyone's lives, except for Dettlaff, she still was like, you did this, they deserve to die. You know, she didn't hold back at all. The only person she decided to turn around on was her freaking sister. Hence my point, and agreeing with Kay. I don't believe she wants redemption, and I certainly don't believe she has earned it. Although, of course, she can't, because she would have only just started. So the regret thing is very important to me, because, as I said many times, intent matters for me when it comes to redemption. A little scarring doesn't hurt a cutscene.
Now, where'd that bloodsucker go? Won't be easy to track down. He is a vampire, after all.
That's actually another interesting point. So Sildar mentions, you know, why would she feel regret? This is another concept that comes up every now and again. Some people feel sorry before they're caught. Some people feel sorry because they were caught. Now, there's actually a lot of range of gray in between there, but a lot of people tend to agree that someone who shows regret after being caught and someone who shows regret before being caught, that there's a difference there between those two. And Siana clearly only shows any form of regret after being caught. That does not mean the regret isn't sincere. It does not mean she doesn't necessarily want to be redeemed or whatever. It just means that kind of muddies the waters a little bit. If there was some sign that she was already thinking against this or regretting this or not wanting to do this before we found her, that might add to the idea of her actually being redeemed. Instead, it's, damn it, I'm sorry I got caught. You know? At least that's the way it's presented.
Damn it, where'd you go?
Interesting idea, Hazardous, especially since we come back when Boclair is on fire.
Regis!
Not a terrible idea there.
You raise your hand against the vampire! I did!
Those Bruxae, they called you a traitor.
Alas, we've a very simple code of honor, we vampires. So simple you might call it trivial. Either one is with us, unconditionally, regardless of the circumstances, or...
Won't let it go, will they?
They will not. Fortunately, we've another rule, an unwritten one, and just as trivial as the first. It is neatly summarized in the saying, out of sight, out of mind. That is why I must leave Toussaint. For a vastly long time, most like.
Yeah, I get it.
Let us make for my camp. I've an overwhelming desire to have another drink.
This is admittedly something that bothers me a little bit about 2 of the endings. Both of the endings where you kill Dettlaff. Because both of those endings end up in basically a not good ending for Regis. And Regis deserves a frickin' good ending. For all the crap he just had to go through. Come on. I would especially love it if he could retire to Toussaint with his buddy Geralt, who I also want to retire in Toussaint, along with Dandelion. I think Zoltan would be okay here, too. And we can get Yennefer here. Ciri can visit every now and again. I don't know what Trish should do. Trish might not retire. She's off doing other things. She's not retiring yet. Who'd I miss? Roach? No, Roach is busy.
Supreme bouquet. Firm, defined beginning, then develops gently, rising to a startling finish. Don't you think?
Not much of a connoisseur.
Then it is high time you started your education. After all, the Corvo Bianco vineyard is now yours. By the way, I left a gift for you at your new home, on the nightstand.
Thanks. Mind telling me what it is?
A trifle. That will nonetheless be useful should you need mutagens. Incidentally, Have you thought about what you'll do with your prize? Shall you hang your swords over the mantle and take to pruning vines?
That's my fault, Kay. Sorry.
Know what? Think I just might. Come on now, don't laugh. Maybe not today or tomorrow. But one day I'll want to see what it's like. To just wake up every day in my own bed.
Oh, stop, please. Sounds so sentimental, my fangs have begun to hurt. Then what? Will you begin writing your memoirs like Dandelion? I can remember a night, not too far from here if I'm not mistaken. We hid in a cave while a blizzard raged all about. Does that sound at all familiar?
How could it not? We just set off to rescue Ciri from Vilgefortz.
Oh, our encounter with Vilgefortz. That is something I do not remember so fondly. But that first stay in Boclair, far calmer than this one.
Seemed like a land straight out of a fairy tale back then. Its sole problem, cellars too small to accommodate all that wine.
Appearances, Geralt. Appearances, like Mamoons and Dopplers, deceive. So what did become of Vilgefortz?
Killed him. Sure wasn't easy, though. What about you? Any idea where you'll go?
Distance is of the essence. I thought I might venture south.
Nilfgaard?
Why ever not? The Nilfgaardians are a modern society. None there believe in vampires anymore. This fact alone could be very useful to one wishing to remain incognito.
Interesting point of view. I so don't feel like going anywhere. Sit here a while longer?
So we shall, my friend. We have witnessed, and in fact on several occasions incited, many great and weighty events. After all that toil, I believe we deserve a bit of a rest.
That we do.
Breaking the fourth wall. I mean, it's a long frickin' game.
Actually, I'd love to go home.
And of course, it ends with the sun rising. But there is one last thing here to do. I'll detox on the way. That's why I'm walking instead of teleporting on her. But why not? Why not? What possible reason would I have not to go home, Django? Oh, the toxicity. Yeah, okay. We're waiting it out. We're waiting it out. We're getting all that toxicity out through the water. Although I may be going too fast. Hang on. Let's redirect a little bit. Are we good? How's our face? Yeah, it looks like we're good.
Eat something. Nourish us.
So I want to mention something. You guys know what shipping is, right? Now, I don't get into shipping, not really. But I understand the mentality. Because to me, the mentality is a very strong mentality of, I want this fiction to go a certain way. Right? Like, that's what that really boils down to. I could be wrong. Feel free to correct me. But I mention that because I keep hammering on my point of Geralt retiring in Toussaint for a very important reason. Because I really do think this is the way this story should go. I think Geralt should finally have the ability to go ahead and retire. He's in a place that's nice and relatively peaceful, has very low-tier problems. He has his own vineyard. He's got his lover and or daughter and or friend with him. And there's the whole knights errant thing. He can actually still go around and take care of little issues if he wants to, or if he chooses to. You know, I really do think, with all sincerity, that this is how this should go. Everyone else is a little more debatable. But I also have to point out that I like that if you end up with Triss, it kind of makes sense, because Triss can visit whenever she wants. She can teleport. Right? So if you end up with Triss, she can stay here with you and then go off and, you know, politic and do what she wants to do and come back and be home for dinner, kind of an idea. And if you're with Yennefer, Yennefer chooses to retire with you because she's already been through most of that and she just wants to settle anyways. So in both cases, this kind of fits neatly with Geralt's idea of just settling here and resting. My take on it. Oh yeah, and I'm just going to say this is getting a story plus.
Some unknown individual barged into the residence. I resisted as best I could, but to no avail.
Who is it?
Alas, they did not do me the basic courtesy of introducing themselves.
Poor BB. Way too much luggage.
Unexpected as ever. And beautiful as ever.
Won't you even ask why I've come? Or how I found you?
Wouldn't get a straight answer anyway.
Quite true.
Used to bother me, all your secrets. Now I know if you have something to tell me, you'll tell me. Don't need to ask.
I missed you, Geralt. Madly. Come outside. We can hold hands and stare at the sky, like some shitty two-crown romance.
Brought quite a few books. Let me guess. Working on a new spell?
Not at all. These aren't grimoires, just pleasure reading. The Name of the Orchid. A widower for half a year.
Huh. Always thought you too busy to make time for something as impractical as pleasure reading.
Because I was. But now I'm not. A few weeks ago, I awoke to the realization that I know not what to do next. I have no plan. I have no goal. And you know what? I like that. Finally, I can stop thinking about politics and focus on what's important to me. Which is why I came here.
And that's one of the reasons why I went with Yennefer in the end, by the way. Because I felt like, not because of the geometry thing, because I felt that when she finally drops the facade, when she doesn't have some doomy thing to deal with, when she just decides to be herself, she's actually a nice person. I don't mean nice as in kind, I mean nice as in nice to be around, you know? A more pleasant person, if you will.
Liking Toussaint so far?
The landscape's lovely and the towns are charming, no question about that.
But
the southern sun plays havoc with my wardrobe. To be blunt, wear black down here and you're pretty damn hot.
Might need to think about changing your color palette. Off-white and pea green, for instance.
And I'll wear scents distilled from turnips and daisies. I think I shall simply stay in the shade. And you'll bring me cool drinks. At regular intervals.
Bring you whatever you want. You know, feels kinda strange having a home.
I must say I never pictured you owning real estate.
Was something of an accident, but I'm not about to complain. Yen, back then, before we fought the hunt, said you wanted to run away with me to the world's end. This vineyard, good enough?
Yes, although there's one thing missing.
Namely?
I shall give you a hint. It's large, white, has 4 legs, category taxidermy.
Oh yeah, the unicorn. Fine, you can bring it down here.
I knew you'd see things my way.
Ever thought this day would come? Me and you, peace and quiet, bees buzzing, birds chirping.
I almost regret delaying so long before coming to you. I was quite the silly goose.
You have doubts? Though I imagine it might have been hard coming after me. Always were proud as a peacock.
Please, Geralt. I'm not like other sorceresses to feel that following someone means my wings have been clipped.
Ooh, watch what you say about your colleagues. Remember, it's an ill bird that fouls its own nest.
Well said, Witcher. You're not only handsome, but wise, too. I feel a bit like the cat that got the canary.
Yeah, and I'm... Damn it, you win. This time.
Ha!
How'd that start, anyway? Our duels and wordplay.
Forgotten? It was at a vernissage in Banard. You started it to keep from going mad with boredom. I remember finding your sense of humor both groan-worthy and somehow endearing. Never change, Geralt. I beg you.
That's an interesting question. To my knowledge, we don't know the lifespan of Witchers. Like the outer ends of it. I like that pheasant who's just... or peacock, whatever it is. So they could live for a while, maybe.
So, talk again later?
Of course. I'm not going anywhere.
Yeah, exactly. Vesemir was pretty old. I love the view they give you here. Ladies and gentlemen, this is it. Witcher 3. One final story plus for that epilogue. Don't feel the need to explain myself. But I'm going to anyways. So let's do a double check on our counts, shall we? Now I'm going to count all of this as 1, because I'm insane. But even if we didn't, it would be 16 to 2, according to this, and then 11 1 1 for negatives. So let's do this all the way through, shall we? So if we were doing a here, I'll put it up on a text thing. If we were doing just per expansion, it would be +5 for vanilla, +1 for hearts, +1 for blood and wine. And then if we were doing story, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 2, 1, 3. That would be +30, +4, +7. Now I just want to double check my figures really quick. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 14, 15, 18. So that is a... That check should be 48. Alright, what'd I do wrong? Hang on. Hang on, let me count again. Damn it! 1, 2, 3. Can I change these to, like, numbered? Maybe I should start doing that, just to help with this. This is the highest game I've ever rated, yes. In this review system. Can I, like, change these to numbered? I don't even remember how to do that. Whatever, it doesn't matter. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47. I'm right, 48. There are 48 gross story pluses. So, Whatever it says on the screen, that's the gross. Not net. We'll figure out in a second. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And 6 story negatives. So that's accurate at least. So 6 story negatives. And then down to gameplay. Hang on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. 19 total gameplay positives. Which is wrong here according to this, but whatever. Let me double check that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 18, 19. Nope, I'm right. FF6 doesn't have a score yet. Pillars of Snow. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Yep, and 13 net games. That's accurate at least. So there's our gross scores. Leaving us with a net positive to gameplay of +6, which honestly sounds about right to me. And a net positive of story of +42. Oh my god, that's nuts! And yet I don't disagree with it. At the end of all of these runs, whenever I do a rating, I always sit and think, okay, does that feel about right? Like, does that fit with my general opinion and perspective? Yeah, +42 to story. Yeah, that sounds about right. And in all in total sincerity, I think this game might actually beat out several other games when it comes to story. Like, when I ever finally do a review of FF6, I'm pretty sure it will not have 42 pluses to story. In fairness, I'm counting the expansions into this, and this game is much larger. But still, that's a long story, Pillars of Snow. The short answer is no. That's the summary. I'll give a long answer later if you really want. So let's see. Yikes. I hope you guys have enjoyed this totally not a lore run. I'm going to have to actually do a lot of math to figure out how long this lore run was. Because I always put down the hours. Because 15 days. But, oh my god. I do hope you've enjoyed. I really do. It's been a pleasure going back through this game again. And, like I said, I stand by that score. I absolutely do. So that is the Witcher 3 lore run. I'm going to go ahead and chop off the local recording.